If I could have everyone's attention. Thank you. I'd like to welcome you all to the regular meeting of June 20th, 7:30 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. City Clerk?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Here.
Councilmember Fish?
Here.
Councilmember Yu?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Here.
Mayor Sternquist?
Here. Thank you. We have the invocation. I don't see Pastor Calvin Sue. Oh, there you are. Thank you. So I'd like to invite Pastor Calvin, is it Sue?
Yes.
Sue, up. He is with Rock Mountain Baptist Church that's located at 6019 Baldwin Avenue. He will be providing the invocation this evening. Pastor Sue started the Rock Mountain Baptist Church after he graduated from the seminary in 1994.
Yes.
And you have been there for 23 years.
Yes.
Goodness.
Still young.
Still young. And you still look young, too.
Thank you very much.
Rock Mountain Baptist Church shares the same campus as First Baptist Church. The two churches are separate, but many of their ministries are interconnected. Would you please stand and join Pastor Sue and the council in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, in the invocation.
Oh,
Good job. No, that's you.
Pray,
Invocation.
okay.
My mistake.
Thank you. Dear Lord, your mercy is in the heaven, and your faithfulness is as high as the cloud. We have tasted and see so that we know you are good. You commanded us love your neighbors as love yourself. So that today, our meeting in Temple City, we are gathering together to know how to love each other and to check your will and your pleasant, so that we know how to do it, have your wisdom. Place in our mayor, the councilman, and appear in this meeting, our resident at Temple City. Even we come from different family, and maybe we speak different language. We have a different background, but we know we live in the same world, one world, created from you. So that help us to know you, what you are will, and what you are pleased. And we need you with us. And we give our respect and leading us this meeting, and place everyone here and shine upon your glory. Please pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to have Troop 161 lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Scouts presenting the flags this evening are Walter Chow, Anthony Han, Christopher Du, Neil Chang, Sean Lai, and Sean Lai. Troop 161 will be participating in a 25 and 50-mile bike ride if they ride back and forth from Whittier Narrows to Seal Beach on Saturday, June 24th. On June 30th, June 1st, Troop 161 will participate in a scout camp at Arcadia Wilderness Park. Troop 61, will you begin?
May the audience please rise to the presentation of the colors. Color guard, attention. Color guard, front and center. Color guard, forward march. Halt. Color guard, please post the flag of the United States of America. Color guard, please post the California state flag. May all those in uniform and veterans please salute. All those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Color guard, reform. Color guard, retreat. Vote. Color guard, dismissed. The audience may now be seated.
Thank you, Troop 161. I'm going to ask that our mayor have our city attorney report and take agenda item 13 out of order and address this first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the council and the public know, there's normally a time for a city attorney update near the end of the agenda. Tonight, given the latest legal situation facing the city, we thought now would be a good time for that. And specifically, this deals with the Golden Motel project. As the public and the council know, the project has been withdrawn by the applicant. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background on what your city attorney's office has done based on direction from the council. The council did ask the city attorney's office to investigate the project and to continue to brief the council and ultimately to take action with respect to the project. When we began our investigation, there was very little information. County had published very little on the project. We received verbal reports from residents of the city and residents of adjoining areas. We received some written information that was given to your city staff and then passed along to us. We filed 2 different letters with the county seeking publicly available documents. When we finally did receive those, we analyzed those as well. This was a thorough legal analysis based on all of the available materials, so it did take some time to complete. We focused on environmental law issues, planning law issues. As the council knows, the work of your city attorney's office is to look at facts, look at the law, and do an analysis. And so we did that. Quite recently, we received direction from the council to complete our analysis and to file with the county a letter. And that letter was 18 pages. It was filed at 8:12 in the morning yesterday. At approximately 2 o'clock yesterday, we received word that the project had been withdrawn. A copy of the letter is available with the city clerk this evening for anyone who wants to see it. It's our understanding that as of noon today, the letter had not been posted with other materials on the county's website, so we do want to make sure that it's available. A good deal of time and a good deal of effort had gone into getting this out there and stating the city's position on the project. And Madam Mayor, that's my update, and I turn it back to you.
Okay. Thank you. Before I get started to read just some comments on behalf of the whole council and the city, I would just like to share that one thing I forgot to mention on behalf of the entire council when we had our meeting, I forget the date, but it was at Live Oak Park. What was the date of that meeting, Brian? Do you recall?
The 16th of May, I believe.
The 16th of May, was that, you know, many residents, non-residents came up to speak and spoke to, you know, the whole council and oftentimes specifically to the mayor. And one thing I didn't share, and I think is so pertinent to the foundation of this whole issue, is that every one of us on this city council lives in Temple City, has lived in Temple City for many years. 40 years myself, I think Nan, maybe 35. Tom, how many, 30 years? Vince is building a home in Temple City, has lived here a long time. William has lived in Temple City almost 25 years. Collectively, we have a lot of investment in this community, and every single one of us up here has given so freely of their public service and the amount of time and dedication it takes to be a public leader. And I just want to say that I can't thank my colleagues enough during this last couple of months that have been difficult, because not only have I had about, I must be up to about 5,000 emails now personally, I know they have also had numerous emails also from residents expressing their concerns. So I just wanted to let you know that whenever we took anything into consideration, we always had the best interest of this community. Whether or not anybody maybe thought that we didn't move quick enough, we were following a process that's laid out that we as elected officials have to do. And it was always in the best interest of this community, and with a passion for this community that I don't think anyone could ever question if you know us and the work that we've done in this city. So I just wanted to take the time to say that. We are fathers, like some of you said, you know, hopefully grandparents soon. I raised 2 children here. Tom has, they've played sports. Nan has. William is raising his son. Vincent raised his son. And we have the most passion to have all of you who have moved in our city, young families, to be able to raise your kids the same way that we have. And I don't want anyone there to ever doubt that. So I just wanted to take the time to share that publicly and thank my colleagues during this difficult couple of months for a project that hasn't even been in Temple City. The City Council, in response to the notice of a county public hearing, initiated the city attorney to analyze the Golden Motel project. The City Council recognizes the need for homeless services and housing in the San Gabriel Valley. Based on the city attorney's analysis, again initiated by the City Council, the City Council concluded that the Golden Motel project was not well planned and was not being well analyzed by the county. The City Council directed the City Attorney's office to prepare the letter mentioned by the City Attorney. This letter focused on flaws in the process and the lack of a clear direction for the Golden Motel project. The ultimate conclusion expressed in the letter was that the project could not be approved. The letter took into account many of the issues raised by residents related to the flawed process and the flaws in this particular project. The city took the time and the resources to ensure that its comments and ultimate conclusion to recommend not approving the project would be completely, legally, and most of all, defensible. Thank you for your respect and constant participation, and we heard your concerns and acted upon them. We hope that you can continue to be involved in civic issues and continue your passion to work with the city and your community to make it the best it can be. So thank you for that. Okay? We are now going to move on to ceremonial matters and presentations. And we are going to have the introduction of Temple City's Sister City Exchange students. I'd like to call on Nancy Terry and Leanne Baroldi, Temple City Sister Association members, to introduce the Temple City students selected to represent the city in the Student Ambassador Program to Hawkesbury City in Australia. And I'm going to ask after the introductions that the council join me in giving some certificates and goodie bags to the members. So Nancy, welcome.
Thank you very much. Leanne Baroldi and I, Nancy Terry, are some of the vice presidents of Temple City Sister City. And for anyone who is not familiar with the program, we send 6 of our Temple City students every summer to Australia for a month to live with a host family. And Australia sends 6 of their students to us in September into October to spend a month with host families here and attend high school. We take them on outings, as well as their committee takes our kids on outings. And every year the program's just a little bit different, except that it's always for sophomores. So we feel very badly if someone comes in as a junior and they didn't get to apply as sophomores. But any students here, when you become sophomores, please, by all means, look at your registration packet that you get from school, and there will be information about an information night in September. It's our pleasure also to have been to Australia. We've actually gone to many of the places that the students go to the museums and the War Memorial at the Capitol. So we're very familiar with what they will do and see in Australia. We'd like the kids to introduce themselves one at a time and just give us an idea of something that they are looking forward to seeing or doing in Australia.
I'm Robert Hernandez, and I would like to extend my thanks to the City Council and the city for supporting this program and allowing students like us to get a chance to visit a country that we may never have to if this weren't the case. And I'm really excited to look forward and meet my own host family and get to share experiences with them. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brianna Chen, and I'd like to thank the City Council for supporting our wonderful program and giving us this great opportunity to go somewhere where a lot of us don't get to go. And when I go to Australia, I'm excited to try a spread that they eat there called Vegemite. Thank you.
Don't get too excited.
Hi, my name is Elise Cuevas, and again, I'd like to stress how thankful I am for the opportunity that you have given us all. I am really looking forward to exploring the geography and wildlife that thrives on the land, so it's going to be really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Annika Chong. I'd like to thank you guys for all of your support and love for this program. We wouldn't be able to go on this life-changing experience if it wasn't for you guys. I'm most excited to experience the brand new culture in Australia and try the new food.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cody. Thank you for your support for this program. I'm looking forward to climbing the Sydney Harbour Bridge. I'm not scared now, but I'm sure I'll be scared. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ian Garcia, and as my peers have said before, I'm extremely thankful for what you guys are doing for us. Without this, I would not have even imagined to be going to Australia. And I'm very excited to try the new experiences and opportunities that I would have in Australia that I wouldn't necessarily have here in America. So thank you guys.
Okay, if we could come up and pass out the certificates. Okay.
And there's an incident. Okay.
Okay, there's names on the bags. Okay. So Anika Chong, is that Annika? Oh, it's pretty. Annika. Congratulations. Come on up.
I got it.
Cody Tam. Congratulations, Cody. Robert Hernandez. Congratulations, Robert. Have fun. Brianna Chen. Congratulations, Brianna. Elise Cuevas. Congratulations. And Ian Garcia. Now, I believe that's about a, 16-hour flight?
Yes, it is.
It's a long flight to Australia.
It is a
Be
long
safe,
flight.
see? Okay. We are going to move to public comments. Comments not listed on the agenda. If you would like to address the council, please fill out a form, and Peggy has some. The first person I'd like to call is Jing Lee, and Jing always has exciting news about the library for us. Welcome, Jing.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This is Jeannie from Temple City Library. I'm very happy to announce, starting July 1st, the Temple City Library is going to expand the hour from 48 hours per week to 54 hours per week.
Okay.
So our new hour will be from Monday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday and Friday is going to be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday will be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So this expansion of the hour is the public library's continued effort to remove the barriers to library use and increase access to resource and service. So throughout the county, the whole department is actually going to increase the open hour by 8% annually. And there will be like a 78 out of 87 county library will have expanded hours. Temple City is one of them. The best part for this is through the creation of more efficient staff module, the county library is able to expand the service hour to the community without an increase in operating cost. So which means the librarians and library staff have to work extra hard because we won't get extra staffing. So again, we have lots of programs for the library. Please feel free to visit us. Through the whole summer, we have a lot of programs. Hope to see everybody over there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Okay, Steve Stafford. I'd just like to remind everyone that you have 3 minutes.
Mayor Sternquist, Mayor Pro Tempore Mann, council members, city staff. I've been noticing a lot of the streets near where I live off of Broadway are getting in really bad shape. It's the point where they're patching and it's just, the patch goes away. I don't know what the timetable is on working on the areas south of Live Oak and north of Olive, but some of the streets, like where I live off of Barella and Nadine, are just, they're becoming really bad to the point where they went down to the dirt, the gutters are starting to tear apart. It really needs some work. I'd appreciate, and I think my neighbors would appreciate whatever you can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'm sure you can call community development and see what the time schedule is.
Seems like they repair one and then another one comes out.
Okay. Jerry Jambazian?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Jerry Jambazian. I'd normally save this until the end, but council meetings have been pretty short lately, but I have a feeling that this one's going to maybe be a little bit longer. So I want the most amount of people to hear this. But, well, first of all, I would imagine somebody else is going to bring up Relay for Life. It's this weekend, but I know you're wearing purple, and thank you very much. But my most important thing is the city council is not going to meet again until after July 4th. And I was wondering if possibly somebody could point out, maybe it'll be done later in the manager's report or something like that, but just in case it isn't, got more people watching right now than normally. So what are the parameters for fireworks, safe and sane versus illegal? What are the penalties and the hours of operation for the sale of fireworks and that type of thing? So I know I'm putting you on short notice, but maybe you could give just a little bit of information so everybody is safe and everybody knows the penalties if you start shooting off illegal fireworks.
I believe, because I think it's important and we're not meeting until after July 4th, so those are very good and pertinent questions. I believe that the sale is only for 3 days. Is that correct, Brian?
Correct.
Yeah.
So the sale is for,
It is on our website too.
and it is on the website, but
Is
I
it?
will have to tell you, our sheriff department is being very proactive, and we did receive an email from Sergeant Miranda that went to our city manager to put on the website also that if you are caught with illegal fireworks, it's $1,000 fine. So I think it's pretty substantial.
Yes.
And I believe if you're caught a second time, that fee either doubles or it's on the website. But I would encourage you and residents listening to please go onto the website and get all the full details.
It's good. Good.
But I know
Great.
the city and our sheriff department is being very proactive.
Good.
And thank you to Ed Chin for being here tonight also. Raise your hand.
Good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Feng Lan Lao or Lu?
I come here to say thank you. First, I thank City Attorney Ms. Murphy. Thank you for the legal analysis on Mercy House project. Second, I want to say thank you to City Mayor. I come to your office to try to make an appointment to meet you, talk about the Mercy House project. Unfortunately, I said I received the email said you didn't have time for you. I come to here say thank you for that. You know,
you.
I couldn't hear your voice. I
Right,
come
I
to
think
here say thank
if
you.
I can for just 1 second, I believe you came on the day that I left for a vacation for my 40th Wendy anniversary, so I was
I
in
know, but
12 days for Hawaii, and I didn't hear back from you.
No, I told your secretary I would love to meet City Mayor, talk about Mercy House project after she come back. But I received the email. She said City Mayor is so busy, she doesn't have time for me. I really appreciate that. I come to here say thank you to City Council. I've been here. This is my third time. We were fighting with Mercy House. People are crying here, begging the city councils help us, support us. I was here twice. Hundreds of people crying. I really appreciate we didn't hear any voice from city councils. I never see any city council stands up for us. I come here to say thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Lucy Liu, who I think wants to truly thank us. Thank you, Lucy.
Yeah, that's a hard act to follow. I'm sorry. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, City staff. Yes, I am here with other community members to really thank you for what you have done. We understand all the legal boundaries that you were faced with. We appreciate you taking the time out to listen to us. I know you've heard us. I think a lot of us know you've heard us. And seeing that letter, the 18-page letter, just blows me away. I'm so happy that we get to see that letter and get to share it with the community so that we don't lose faith. You did do your job to protect us, although you had to stay silent. I know it's very difficult to stay silent. Sometimes I would have to bite my tongue too. But thank you for not failing us, and thank you for doing what we asked and begged you to do. Thank you.
And thank you, Lucy, for taking. Oh, that's very nice
very
of all of you.
sweet.
Thank you. And I would like to say,
seen
I
that.
think if there's anyone listening or in the audience, and Lucy can attest to that, if I'm available, I answer emails within a couple of hours and always schedule appointments. I am always available, but I do have a family and a life, and had the opportunity to experience a lovely 40th anniversary in Hawaii and
Congratulations.
take my first vacation in probably 8 years since I've been on city council. But I can't thank all of you enough for taking the time to come up here and express your thanks. So thank you.
Thank you. And we definitely learned a valuable lesson in this democratic process, that's for sure.
And I hope all of you stay engaged.
Yes, please.
You know, we're hoping to revitalize our Citizens Academy and hope that everybody can come out and participate, and we hope that there's a waiting list for that.
Hope so too, yeah. So we have Relay for Life coming up this weekend.
Yes,
Sorry,
we do.
off subject. We have GPAC, the General Planning Advisory Committee community meeting coming up next Monday night. So those are all great events for people to take part and stay involved.
Thanks. Thank you very much. We have Michael. Michael? Where's Michael? Oh, Michael. Welcome, Michael.
Hello. I just want to take this time to thank everybody as well. Mayor Sternquist, council members, staff, Mr. Greg Murphy. We have emailed back and forth, so thank you everybody has taken the time to read our emails. And to respond, Mr. Greg Murphy has been more than professional. And just want to thank you like everybody else here. If anything, this has brought the community together. Before this, 5 weeks ago, I didn't even know how any of this worked. Quite honestly, I didn't know how many council members. Now, like, I got a real quick lesson how everything works. And yes, to continue what you said, we are going to keep banding together for future, subjects, projects, anything that's related to the city. This has helped us. There is a silver lining in this cloud. And I think this is the best type of war to win without a shot being fired. And this is the best possible outcome. I know a lot of people, we have done a lot of work, gather a lot of data. And a lot of people I heard, like, they say, it's a sweet victory, but at the same time, it's kind of like we wanted to throw a punch, because we've been training for months and months. But I assure everybody that this is the best way to win, that they withdraw, and it's more peaceful this way. And the city doesn't have to spend a whole bunch of money, and neither do they. And hopefully they find a better location, because it's a little bittersweet for me, because at the end of it, because I had to be one way about it, but I felt bad because it is 169 units that's gone now. And I truly hope that they do find a place that's suitable for these homeless individuals and the veterans. And I truly mean that. But thank you everybody for what you have done.
And I want to
for your
thank you for
professionalism.
taking the time to come here this evening and thank the council and everybody, our city manager, Greg Murphy. It was a collaborative effort, and actually the support from the residents, no doubt, had an effect on Mercy Housing also withdrawing their application. So it just shows that when we work together, we can accomplish a lot. And so thank you to everyone who took the time to come out this evening.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you.
Okay. Steve? No, that's another issue, right? Yeah. Okay. And I think that's it. Is there anyone else who? Okay. Yes.
I'm going to translate.
Okay.
尊敬的市长、
市议员你们好，还有城市经理。
Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city manager, and city staff.
我叫 Annie 安，
My name is Annie An.
我住在 Live Oak，
I live at Live Oak.
我住在这个城市呢已经25年了。
I've lived here for 25 years.
我非常喜欢我的这个小家乡。
I love this town of mine very much.
今天我为什么上来讲话呢？是有感而发。
Why I'm here to speak today is because I have a lot of emotions to share.
我没有党派，我不是民主党，也不是共和党。
I'm nonpartisan.
但是呢，通过这次的这个维权事件呢，让我觉得说，我们天普市将来可能有机会，你们在座的各位议员有可能就是帮我们争取更大的这个权益。
But through this process, I feel that the city council and the city should be able to fight for more benefits for our community members.
今天你跟我们站在一起，也许将来我们也会跟你们站在一起。
Today you stand by us, tomorrow we will stand by you.
也许我们这个小小的城市有可能出一个参议员、国会议员都有可能啊！只要我们大家在一起，把我们的家乡建设得更漂亮。
There's a possibility that we may have a state senator, a congressional member from this little town of mine. So, 最后一句是什么？
就是帮我们这个城市建设得更漂亮。
That we can beautify and build the city up to even a better city.
对不起了，我就没有准备，我只是一个普通的这个护士，在医院做事的。但是呢，我就在座的这些市民朋友，我想就是一点心声吧。
I'm just a nurse working. I'm a regular citizen working as a nurse. I didn't really prepare, but I just want to come here and share my feelings along with the other community members. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you. Okay, if there's no one else, yes. And then pick up a form from our city clerk.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Maureen Wan, and I have been living in the Temple City for 18 years because of the children. And I love the city a lot. When my children were young, I took them to every event, the music night, the Christmas times. They were very happy. They know each other. It surprised me. I said, wow, everybody you know in the park. At the nighttime, I'm at that time feel very warm and very happy for them. And then because of this event, my kids grow up now. I be honest, I didn't take part. For any activity in the city. I'm sorry about that. But after I've been through this event, I learned a lot, and I witnessed the great neighbors we have. And they are such a good leader. I saw them how they work, spend the weekend meetings a lot. I really appreciate that. And then it made me learn that as my kids grow up, not like we have many small family, they have young kids. They are very busy at work and home, so that's why they may not have the chance to participate or involve in the activity. But to myself, now I learned that I need to take part in more and learn the lead from Lucy and the team. They are really such an excellent leader. And I want to learn how to involve and do volunteer and let's get together and make the city become more and more and better. Better. So thank you so much, for all of your support, and it make me feel confident, gain confidence from the city council. Yeah, it make me change my thinking like before. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
Hi, Mayor,
How are you?
Council Member, everyone.
My name is Janet Wong. Sorry, I have a little emotion because I think we spend endless night having meetings, with all the residents and everything regarding this Golden Hotel project. I just wanted to know at the end we are very happy with the result, and we learned to stand up as a community, not just Asians. I just want you to know there's a lot of Caucasian and everybody else involved. I just wanted you to know that because of this project, we now come together really as a family, and we are going to be here, just like you guys. We will be with you, and all the meetings that you're gonna, council meetings and everything. I just want to make one point throughout this whole process that we have learned. We learn about this project after the fact that they have passed a certain criteria in March, and none of those information was shared with the resident. We don't know about it until maybe one of the parents share with the other parent, and we find out, and that's when everybody suddenly jumped. I ask each and every one of you and the city to make sure that you can share information on your website and through email with all the residents from now on, with whatever project is going to come over, and so in that sense, then we can get up and share with you whether this is something that is going to affect our life and your life, because we're here for long. Again, thank you so much.
Note taken. Thank you. Okay, is that it? Yes, come on up.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Honorable Mayor, and the council members. I'm so happy that finally we can put this project to the end, and I'm sure that most of us can feel the same thing. Just one more thing, I think just like after this, Golden Motel is for sure it's going to be for sale. So is there anything after that we can follow up what's coming up, for the next project? What are they going to do? So I just preventing like we don't know, and then something comes to close, and then we find out. So just anything, anybody like we are going to follow up with that, or?
Brian, can you please share what that process would be?
Sure. The project is currently entitled as it is right now. If there were any changes to the entitlements as what Mercy Housing would be proposing, that would have to go to the Regional County Planning Board as well. So those notices will be there. Obviously, this is on our radar screen as well. So any changes related to the future use of the property, we will be tracking as well and looking forward to, and we'll make sure that we inform you and thereby inform the rest of the community as well.
Mayor, may I just add one note of caution, though? I mean, the Golden Motel is located wholly within the county's jurisdiction.
Yes.
So if somebody out there is planning something, we may or may not know, because their first contact is actually with the county, and so perhaps a request, similar to a request to the county board supervisor, may be of more help in a sense, because as much as Mr. Cook tries to help us, we may or may not be the first one that they contact.
Thank you, Councilmember Yu. That's exactly the case too. It would have to be through the formal process that we'd be notified, but if there's something going on before the formal process starts, we may or may not be aware. So,
yeah.
Thank you for that clarification, Councilmember Yu.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, I'd like to close public comment. We move to item 7, the consent calendar. And our city clerk would like to announce one correction on the consent calendar. Item 7A should be approval of minutes from the regular city council meeting of June 6th and not special city council meeting of May 30th. Peggy, were you going to share that?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just really quick, the attachment to that item is for the meeting minutes of June 6th. So the attachment is correct, just the description needs to be rectified. Thank you.
Thank you. All consent calendar items may be approved in a single motion as recommended unless removed for further discussion.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, the item has been moved and seconded. Hearing no objection, so moved. We move to item 8. A, adoption of resolution number 17-5262, approving the master fee and fine schedule for fiscal year 2017-18, amending and establishing new fees for parks and recreation programs.
Mayor Sternquist, members of the council, the next few items that you will receive are a culmination of the work that you have been doing, the Budget Ad Hoc Committee has been doing over the last few months. The first step in that process is the adoption of a fee schedule, which our Administrative Services Director will go over. This includes the adjustments that were proposed related to the Parks and Recreation programming and no other adjusted fee increases. I'm excited to see a crowd because I enjoy this stuff on the budgeting side. And I'll talk a little bit more in detail about the budget that's being presented as well tonight, but this is the first step. You also took 2 other steps in the consent calendar, which, just for clarification standpoint, things that are related to state law. One, we have to have an investment policy. We did a few tweaks to our investment policy, and that's really the guidelines of how we can invest our money, which we'll talk about our very healthy reserve level, and also to how we can spend our reserves and what you've designated that to do. So some of your consent calendar items addressed kind of, I won't use the word perfunctory, I always get in trouble with that one, standard processes and mechanisms that we go through with the process. So a lot of what's going to be talked about today and in this item as well is kind of the mechanical aspects. So with that, I'll pass it over to our Administrative Services Director.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor and City Council. As City Manager Cook indicated, this is a master fee schedule that we're asking you to re-adopt on an annual basis, typically. And this fee schedule tonight just adjusts fees related to parks and recreation programs. You did receive a lengthy discussion or lengthy presentation and had a discussion on these issues at the budget study session on May 30th. So we are not planning on revisiting those issues unless requested by the council. These proposed fees would help defray the increased costs in the operations of various Parks and Rec programs and the related facility use fees. So with that, it is a public hearing. So if you could open the public hearing, take testimony, if any, close the public hearing, and then staff would recommend that you adopt resolution number 17-5262.
Okay, are there any council questions? No. Okay, seeing none, I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this issue? Okay. Close public hearing. Any council comments? Nope. Can we have a council motion, please?
Madam Mayor, I would like to move that we adopt resolution number 17-5262, approving the master fee schedule and fine schedule fiscal year 2017-18, amending, establishing new fees for several parks and recreation programs.
A second. Okay, it's been moved in second. If no objection, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes.
Okay. Writing the last of it again, okay.
Okay, we move to item C, adoption of resolution number 17-5256, ordering the
B, we missed one.
The annual
Oh, I
appropriations.
missed, yeah.
Yes.
Adoption of resolution number 17-5263, confirming the factors used for calculating the annual appropriations limit for the fiscal year 2017-2018.
Mayor, Mayor Sternquist, members of the council, step 2 in the exciting process of budget adoption. So this is, as Tracy will go over very briefly, this is also a state requirement that we have to make the calculation about how much every city in California can only essentially appropriate so much funds related to the revenue that we bring in. We are always under that amount, but Ms. House will go through some of those particulars as well as we do this every single year. And with that, Ms. House.
Thank you. Again, as City Manager Cook indicated, this is quite a, well, and from my estimation, old state law that was passed since 1979 that requires that our spending limits are measured and calculated based on adjustment factors that are provided by the state. The City of Temple City's, after completing the calculations from last year's base, the City of Temple City's limit, actual spending limit, is $20,180,000 approximately, and our appropriations as proposed in the state, in our budget, is well within the limit and is actually only $9.3 million, and so we are well within the required threshold. This is a public hearing, and so again, we recommend that you open the public hearing, receive input, close the public hearing, and then adopt resolution number 175263, confirming the factors used for calculating the annual appropriation limit for fiscal year 17-18. And again, if you have any specific questions related to the calculation, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Director House. Is there any questions from council? Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak? Okay, close the public hearing. Any council comment? Okay, can we have a council motion, please?
Madam Mayor, I would move to adopt resolution number 1752-63, confirming the factors used for calculated annual appropriation limit for fiscal year 17-18.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been moved and seconded. If no objection, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Man?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. Okay, now we move to item C, adoption of resolution number 17-5256, ordering the levy of citywide lighting and maintenance district assessments for fiscal year 2017-18.
Mayor Sternquist, members of the council, here's step 3 in the budget process and as we go through the budget adoption process. As you know, the Landscape and Lighting District is an assessment that is not being changed, so there's no changes in the assessment itself. But as you know, and you've had a lengthy discussion about this assessment district is actually being subsidized by the general fund this year by over $300,000. That will have to be addressed at some point in time, but then what the Landscape and Lighting District essentially pays for is the street lights you see, the traffic lights you see all throughout town, the Edison bills that come in the door, that's what we need to pay. This is the funds we use to pay for those. But we do have, and as we've talked at length about, we do have a long, almost 15-year structural deficit that we've been dealing with that, and we'll need to deal with that correctively in the future. We've told you about some of the things we'll be analyzing with some new revenue streams from the state and other sources to try to address that. But with that, this allows us to continue to collect the assessment and keep the lights on, per se.
Okay.
May I just
Yes.
sort of ask a question or clarification question? So, Mr. City Manager, you plan to bring back to the City Council sometime? I mean, tonight we're passing this for this year's budget, but at some time in the future, you plan on bringing this back to the council to consider maybe adjusting I guess the levy, if you will,
Yes, sir.
for the lighting. So
The way we fund it.
Yes, the way we fund it.
yes.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, because we do have that structural deficit that we're plugging with the general fund this year. But yes, we have to bring something back to you for you to consider some options in going into the next year.
Okay, Director House, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I have a clarifying issue. I have a quick PowerPoint. If you'd like me to go through it, that's fine. Just housekeeping, we created a lot of resolutions this last cycle for budget staff or for this city council meeting. So in your packet, this resolution indicates 175256, when in actuality, it needs to be adoption of resolution 17-5255. So I just want to put that on the record, that with this adoption, it'll be 17-5255. I think, we pretty well covered the discussions in this area, dealing just now and in our budget study session. And again, we formed this district in '79 to address street lighting, traffic signals, median maintenance, and park maintenance. The engineer report was completed by Harrison Associate, and actually a representative, Mr. Pretridge, is here from Harrison Associates tonight if you would like to have any more specific questions about the report. On May 16th, we did declare the intent to levy, and the notice of the public hearing tonight was advertised in the City Tribune on June 8th. So just more housekeeping things. The assessments do remain unchanged. It is anticipated these assessments will generate approximately $330,000. And as discussed, the current assessment does not cover all the costs related to the required maintenance. And it does, and these costs do cover the expenses of the city's urban forest of approximately 5,500 trees. So with that, I would recommend that you open the public hearing, receive testimony, close the public hearing, and adopt resolution number 17-5255.
Okay, are there any other council questions before we do that? Nope. Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak to this? Steve?
Mayor Sternquist, Mayor Pro Tem Mann, council members, and city staff. About 3 weeks ago, the Board of Supervisors voted to form their own power company, like some cities have. I wonder if it would be cheaper to have the county, providing power for this lighting district. I think we need to look at that. We need to look at what we're being charged and make sure Edison isn't overcharging us. I've seen this happen years ago where cities were being overcharged. And you gotta look at every little aspect of this district and make sure that these lights, that we're not being overcharged. This has been very problematic for a lot of cities. And I was surprised LA County did this, but like I said, they formed their own power company. We need to look at that, see if it might be a cheaper way to go. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else like to close public hearing? Any council comments? Okay, can I have a council motion, please?
Mayor, I'll move that we adopt resolution number 17-5255, ordering the levy and collection of assessments for fiscal year 17-18.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. If no objection, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes. Sorry.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. Can I make a quick statement? Yes.
I just wanted to make a quick statement. Since we have so many wonderful guests in our audience, just wanted to remind you that all of our agendas are online with all of the information. If you ever want to go on it and see, you'll be able to see what we have. We have some of us go by, we have it on our iPads, some of us have the hard copies. So if you ever want to see what we're voting on in detail, you can always go before, and that way it doesn't seem like it's just overwhelming. I know you're out there hearing all these numbers and figures and everything. Then you can be prepared when you come to the next meeting. Okay.
Or after the meeting.
Or after the meeting, whatever.
If you have any questions, you can call our wonderful staff, and they'll be happy to answer them for you.
May I add just one
Yes.
more comment? Actually, that's an interesting comment Councilmember Fish made, that actually when it's posted online, we actually get it at the same time.
Yeah, we get
And
yeah.
then sometimes we couldn't get to it immediately, so you could actually read this before we actually got our hands on it. So Typically, it comes out on Thursdays, well, Wednesday or Thursdays, the Wednesday or Thursday before the council meeting. So you can check our website and you can find it.
Oh, and also we're streamed live on our website, correct? In case you can't make it to the meeting, you can always watch us
Right.
online.
I actually was able to watch the last council meeting streaming 3 hours. You were 3 hours late. It was 3 hours later here, so I was still bright and cheery while they were a little bit tired. But I was able to watch it from Hawaii and be able to send our city manager a message to let the residents know that I was watching it and always thinking about what's going on in our wonderful city. So.
You see William used the red
And
gavel.
William used my pink gavel. That was one of the conditions. And he did a great job.
Yes, he did.
We move to item D, adoption of the proposed fiscal year 2017-18 city budget, and find that the city is in compliance with Government Code Section 66,000.
Thank you, Mayor Sternquist and members of the council. Here's the grand finale. So after about 10 and a half hours of public deliberation between the budget subcommittee, the entire council, we're happy to present to you a balanced budget with a growing surplus from when you had your last budget study session. As you know, the city takes a very prudent approach in terms of budgeting to provide the level of service that we provide the community. We're lucky to be a contract city. One of the challenges many of our agencies around us are facing are the increasing retirement costs that will be gripping them now and into the immediate future over the next 5 years. In consulting with my colleagues throughout the San Gabriel Valley, Arcadia, Pasadena, San Marino, San Gabriel, we are seeing what we're worried a little bit, and I will use the word cautiously optimistic about the future. We don't anticipate the revenue growth that we've seen since the recovery from the Great Recession. But historically, this council, and this staff, and the city as a whole has taken a very cautious approach to providing services to the community while not outstripping our revenues. Ms. Haas, our administrative services director, will show you as we build into our 5-year forecasts how we see revenues growing, how we see expenditures growing, and the ability to kind of weather the storm. Not if a recession comes, but when another recession will come. So we have, as you know, we have extremely strong reserves. Our contract model allows us the flexibility to be able to provide top-notch law enforcement, fire services through our county fire district, and others that we can be very proud of, and you've seen in action and over the years and through many events over the last 6 to 9 months. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Administrative Services Director again, and I'm here for any questions as well. Thank you to this budget subcommittee, the entire council, and all the staff who diligently bring me proposals and don't get angry when I say no.
They do. They just don't tell you about it.
Well, I was being facetious. What can you do?
Good evening. As City Manager Cook touched upon, we have had a variety of meetings both with the Budget Ad Hoc Committee and with this whole entire City Council on this drafted budget, and we are required annually by our charter to adopt a budget. So tonight, during our regular scheduled meeting, staff is recommending the adoption of the fiscal year 2017 and 18 budget. General fund revenues have grown, have increased by approximately 3.8%. And with that, as City Manager Cook indicated, we do not anticipate that quite that level of growth in the future. We have a very brief model for you to look at. And expenditures actually decreased by 3.3% this fiscal year. The organization is at its capacity, meaning that for the most part, all full-time positions are filled, and most of the part-time positions are also filled. So we are operating with full staff, providing the current level of service. Operations is balanced with a surplus, of about $100,000, And the budget does remain somewhat dependent on residential real estate market and development, and slowing is expected. The increase in salary and benefits this year was 1.3%, and we are in the second-year contract with the city's employee association. As we touched upon a little bit earlier, the landscape and lighting district is seeing a deficit, and this year we're recommending that the general fund close that gap with a transfer. New transportation funding is at the state level. There's been quite a bit of news press on that issue, but we're anticipating that will address some of the deficits in the future and will add a funding source for the pavement management. And when I say deficit for the future, I mean the lighting and landscape deficit, and additional repaving and street rehabilitation efforts. Adjustments taken, we ensure that adjustments were made from last year's budget. We're carrying over resources in projects that haven't been finished, and staff continues to identify the cost savings. Our overall revenues for all funds is just a little over $19 million, of which $14.2 million of that is the general fund. Transportation-related funds is almost $3 million. Our lighting and landscape maintenance, with both the assessment and the ad valorem tax that we receive, is approximately $2.3 million. CDBG funds $230,000, and miscellaneous other funds of $331,000. Our total expenditures for all funds is about $18.5 million, $40,000 in equipment. I'm sorry, with $18.5 in operations, $40,000 in equipment, and almost $5 million in capital projects. And we've broken down the areas in which capital project spending is proposed. And the major projects are Temple City Boulevard safety and traffic signal improvements and pavement management activities. This represents where we are in this current fiscal year, which we're going to be finishing in another couple of weeks. And we anticipate that, again, we are ending with an operating surplus of revenues over expenditures of about $66,000, with our equipment and capital items expenses of $171,000, and we'll be ending the fiscal year with an unassigned ending fund balance just a little bit less than what we started with. But this expenditure does include the $450,000 paid out this fiscal year, appropriated and paid out to the LA County for the library renovation and expansion. So we were able to essentially, for the most part, absorb that first installment on that project. This represents where we anticipate our fund balance to be at the end of June 2018. Again, we're starting with our fund balance. Taking into account our revenues and expenditures, we're anticipating an operating surplus of about $100,000, a little bit over. The library expansion project remains into next year with anticipated expenditures of $1.5 million. We have equipment and capital items, which are detailed on the following slides. And some of those are new and some of those are ongoing projects. So at the end of next year, we anticipate an unassigned fund balance, basically the council's undesignated savings account of almost $2 million. This is an overview of our general fund CIP. Some of our major project is the general fund, which we anticipate will be wrapped up next year, and that is funded by one-time reserves. Our equipment represents technology upgrades, incident response trailer, and an upgrade from to our financial software system, also funded by reserves. The next items are more the brick and mortar and what infrastructure that you will see out in the city, and major projects again include traffic street signage and the Temple City Boulevard parking lot project. And I'm going to go back, and the excuse me, I'm sorry. the citywide parking lot, and then the upgrade to the Temple City Boulevard, but that is being funded primarily by transportation funds. Smaller projects include renovation of the Live Oak Park Community Center, senior master plan, re-roof of the City Yard building, city parking lot enhancements, and City Hall exterior enhancements. Discussing our reserves, it is anticipated that we will end fiscal year 2017 and 18 with approximately $16 million in reserves, and this represents about approximately 114% of the general operating budget of approximately $14.2 million. I've outlined in this PowerPoint, this slide, where those reserves remain in accordance with our budget reserve policy, and if you have any further questions on that, I would be glad to go into more detail. Items that our Budget Ad Hoc Committee and City Council actually asked us to continue with updates with them during this fiscal year, including the Lighting and Landscape District funding, which we've touched upon a couple of times tonight, pavement management activities, lack of funding, and new transportation revenue, and our recreation activities. Do you want to touch on the strategic plan? Okay. All right, and always in keeping in mind with our strategic plan, along with our proposed budget, we always consider our goals of our strategic plan outlined here, and staff is going to be working on the update of that strategic plan later this summer under the direction of City Manager Cook. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. I know I went through this quickly, but we've had quite lengthy discussions in our meetings on this. I do have a quick snapshot of our future 5-year forecast. If I'll go on to that if there aren't any other questions on the budget.
Madam Mayor, not a question. I just want to make a remark, sort of incidental to the presentation that Director House had made. I think you saw that we just noticed that there are some certain line items slated for library expansion. As we all know, that the library is a county library. I want to point out the fact that the city sort of thinking everything together on the Mercy Housing project as well. The city does do a lot of work together and collaboratively with the county. So I just want to also perhaps explain why our approach to anything that we deal with the county. We have to be cautious because county is our partner in so many things, including the library expansion, and as a joint project between the county and the city. As a matter of fact, again, I said this many times, but I really need to thank our mayor, being she serves as a library commissioner for the county as well. So, and I think that's why I want to again emphasize the importance that we as agencies, we do work together on many fronts, and as our budget would explain tonight.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Nope. Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would?
Is it okay, Mayor, if she gives a quick snapshot of the 5-year diagnostic?
Just one more thing. And my colleagues tease me ruthlessly on this. So just very quickly, again, you've seen this before, both at mid-year and during budget time. And again, as you can see, looking at the first graph, the revenues, ongoing revenues are in blue, and the ongoing expenses are in red. And as you can see, we do have a gap, and we anticipate that this gap and that revenues will continue to grow to cover operating expenses over the next 5 years. And we do revisit our assumptions every 6 months. And also the second graph also represents our level of reserves, essentially. And the sources, basically our current reserve level, some uses of those reserves in the past, some anticipated use of reserves just based on our current budget activity, but that yet is to be determined. And then this green line represents the level, the minimum level that the staff would recommend that reserves are maintained at 15 million. And as you can see, it is estimated in the future, in the next 5 years, to remain above the recommended minimum level. So I just wanted to give you a quick.
If you can keep that up just for one
Sure.
quick second. Just so when Tracy shows me this and we go through this process and we update it mid-year, the two things I'm looking for is I want to make sure that blue line is as far above the red line as possible. That means that we're going to be gaining a surplus going into that year. The other thing we go through is the assumption process. So I want to know what the assumptions are on the red line and what the assumptions are on the blue line. What I'm happy to report back to you is that you're hearing from your council members in many other cities, they are super concerned about the PERS rates. We are concerned about the PERS rates too. But that assumption includes what we anticipate what PERS has told us over the next 5 years of where those increases are coming. Again, I mentioned earlier about the power of being a contract city. It's really represented in that red line right there related to that. But we are going to be cautious in doing that because PERS may make future changes as well. And I would anticipate they will make future changes, which will make that red line get a little bit closer to that blue line over time. The other thing we do, and you've seen this before, and Mayor Pro Tem Mann has brought this up several times, as well as many other council members, what happens if we lose a major business in town? What happens if we see a real downturn in the economy? Well, that is partially why you have reserves. and one of the lines you saw of the over 110% reserve level that you have, we have emergency reserve. So if, for example, two major businesses that brought in $250,000 a year would go away tomorrow, we would come up with a plan. We'd say, okay, here's our 2 or 3 year plan to get through that. Hopefully we can make the adjustments to get through, but you have the reserves to make it through that. Historically, what the city has seen is steady but not dramatic growth in revenue. That's what this graph is also representing as well. And we need to match that in what we've been trying to do. And as Ms. House talked about kind of organizational capacity, our ongoing revenues with our ongoing expenses, those expenses translate, those are services, those are city services. So that's what we're trying to match cautiously together. And that's why you see those two trend lines going in that manner. Our healthy reserves are also an indication of our fiscal health as well. And as you can see going forward, the reason we've been able, as Councilmember Yu had mentioned earlier, the reasons we've been able to make the investments that we've been able to make in the parking lots, the library, and others is because our reserve levels are so high, we can make those types of investments back into the community and not really deteriorate our financial position. And one of the key indicators to me too also is those blue lines of those reserves. That's almost cash in hand we have right now. It's not assets if we sell a bunch of city facilities or do anything. That's actually cash on hand that we invest. So that's a real indication of our financial strength that we've had and the decisions that the council has made over the many years to really put money away. But we can see we're not going to be putting as much money away as we have been in the past. What this also doesn't represent as well as with the question from Councilmember Yu is two things. One, the deficit in the landscape and lighting district, because this just represents the general fund. And the other item it doesn't represent is the ongoing need for a revenue source on the pavement management side as well. We're making some serious investments, and we have been over the last few years, but as we've talked about before, that's been the low-hanging fruit of pavement management. This does not represent an investment into pavement management. So if you took those functions, well, you can take the landscape and lighting district into account here, but if you took those and said, well, the general fund needs to pay for those, that gap actually gets a lot narrower. So those are just things that we've been talking about, and we will continue to talk about going forward as we continue to provide services to the community. Thank you.
Okay. Mayor, may I add a comment? Actually, just to follow up with City Manager Cook's summary of this graph, one of the things that I take away from the budgetary process and one of the comments that I sometimes get from the public is I think there's a misunderstanding of what the city's reserves actually mean. I think some people imagine that the reserves is the city sitting on a pile of cash somewhere and that we're just hoarding it and not using it. But I think if you look deeper into the budget itself and you look at some of the policy decisions that has been made by previous councils as well as this council, and these reserves have a purpose. You know, they've been marked for certain things. They're like some is for potential economic downturn, some is for upgrades to facilities, you know, and other things other uses are for, you know, like the library. An opportunity comes up where we can leverage some of our money to do a really great project that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So all these things that we brought up in the budget that are annual expenses that have structural deficits, like you mentioned, the landscape lighting district, the pavement stuff, or even other challenges that we've faced with, like this time around, we're facing increases in facility uses. These are annual costs that we cannot rely on a reserve to fund indefinitely. We have to find some sort of revenue source to really cover it. Because if we rely on the reserves to fund these annual things, we're eventually going to deplete it, and you know it's not sustainable. So I really appreciate our staff for really identifying these issues for us, and then also, as one of the slides had shown, we've highlighted several issues that we want to kind of bring back later on in the future because they're going to change. They're going to be subject to change to other funding sources. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the rest of the council's work on the budget. It's a difficult task to go through.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on Helen?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and then city staff. I apologize that I didn't read through these budget details and then those numbers before the meeting. But I did heard City Manager Brian Cook mentioned law enforcement. Like many of you know that the burglary happened to my house just a week ago. The loss is very bad, but we were told that if we want the fingerprint be taken, we have to maintain the crime scene for minimum 2 weeks. And at the same time, I just scared to find out there's so many burglaries around, all around my closed neighborhood or farther neighborhood, but all in Temple City. And it's still happening. I kept receiving the crime blotter from sheriff station, and then still a lot of things happening there. And some houses were even robbed twice, and a lot of attempts still. And then I saw videos taken from the neighborhood, saw some, suspects, things like that, and even the vehicles. But nothing really solved, and then no suspect arrested. And it seems like the public safety became a challenge to our city. So I really want to raise the awareness to the city council. We do need to increase the budget on the law enforcement. And then and think we need to more proactive, not just responsive. And then I think we need more money on the law enforcement power to raise our public safety level. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Jerry? And then Lucy? And then I see my hand over. So.
Good evening again, Jerry Jambazian. I was wondering if there's anything in the 17-18 budget regarding number curb painting and also the entrance sign on the east side of town. I didn't see anything specifically there, but maybe it's buried or maybe it's not going to happen. But it's been 2 years now since I gave staff 88 photos in a 4-block area where you can't even make out the house number on the curb. So I'm wondering, is there anything that's planned for 2017-18?
Two.
As related to the curb painting, no, there is not anything appropriate in the budget. We did come back to the standing committee related to some other options that we may look at. We still need to return to them. They gave us some direction. We still need to return to them with some of that, so we'll return to them with that in the next couple months. And the second question was about
The entrance
the
side.
entrance side. Yes, the Las Tunas Standing Committee, which is comprised of Councilmember Yoon, Councilmember Chavez, will be taking some for some recommendations or some options from Gonzalez Goodall Architects to look at the low-hanging fruit along Las Tunas for some improvements, and that signage will be part of that discussion as well. So there, and in fact, you saw one of the budget line items was funding for Las Tunas as well to do beautification along Las Tunas, and that's where that will be considered.
Okay, thank you.
When will we get some recommendation back?
We still have to come back to the standing committee soon. I'm waiting for David Goodall from Gonzalez Goodall to kind of finalize some of those reports, and then we'll report back to Councilmember Chavez and Councilmember Yu as the standing committee.
Okay, thank you. Lucy?
Good evening, me again. Basically, I want to echo Helen's comments because I do translate the blotter every week, so I see it every week. And we've witnessed an increase in transient population in this neighborhood. I know the Railroad Authority worked with our sheriffs to bulldoze a couple of the encampments a few times, but we are a nice neighborhood. People do like to come here. I do think that if possible, we should consider increasing the budget somehow to increase public safety response. There is a rise in crime, and there is a rise in, I don't want to call them intruders, but there is a rise in people who don't live here, who aren't rooted in this community, and they could be they could be guilty of the ones perpetrating or coming from other areas, as we know. But regardless, there is an increase in crime, and the residents do need some more protection. So if you could please, I know the budget's done, but somehow work that in somehow. Yes, thank you.
All right. I'm going to ask our city manager just to briefly speak to AB 109 to give a little bit of background as to why possibly most cities in the San Gabriel Valley, San Marino, San Gabriel, Rosemead, are all experiencing an increase in burglary and what the struggles are for municipalities.
Sure, Mayor Sternquist, I'll try to do my best. And for those who are interested, fourth Wednesday of the month at 7 a.m., we do have a law enforcement meeting and it's at 7 a.m. because we can have our dedicated deputies there and others to explain some of the crime trends that are happening. But very briefly, I won't say it as eloquently as others. Over the last about 4 years, the state of California, through something called realignment, essentially the state adjusting and saying what kind of laws will be enforced and what kind of laws which were before felonies are now misdemeanors, and essentially allowing for certain members of the population who are committing those crimes to be out. And so crimes that were felonies before are misdemeanors now, essentially, is the best summary I can give. So these lower level types of crimes are happening throughout the San Gabriel Valley. I talked to my colleagues in Arcadia and others. They are seeing, and in fact, some of my other surrounding cities are seeing a higher percentage of residential burglaries than we are. Not that any increase on our community is a good thing, it's not, but those increases are much higher. So the state has not helped municipalities, and I think we're finally coming to the conclusion in local law enforcement has finally come to that conclusion after many, many years of seeing these law changes over the last 3 to 4 years, that these are having an impact on crime in our communities, and it spans the socioeconomic ladder across. So that's one of the key things. We do provide, and as part of your budget, you do provide, just to give a little bit of a breakdown, we go above and beyond what is the normal contract with Los Angeles County. We actually pay for, at the tune of close to $750,000 a year for 3 dedicated deputies, and their charge is 40 hours a week for them to be here and serve us exclusively. On top of that, we have budgeted for the last several years additional overtime. We will always evaluate, and the council has charged me with the fact that if we need more resources to come, we will do that. And we have been trending, and Brian Arizumi, our public safety supervisor, along with Sergeant Miranda, who is our sheriff's liaison, constantly talk, if you hear about on the blotter or you see other things about our burglary suppression operations, which can be hit and miss. Sometimes they catch some people, sometimes they don't. That's actually based on our overtime budget. So beyond what the basic contract of what our minimum requirements are, we provide above that as well. So there's a lot of trends that are happening in our area. We thought we saw a little downward spike in the last about 4 weeks, and then this last week it popped back up again. So we're constantly on that, and when we see the need, along in consultation with our sheriff's department and our sheriff's captain in terms of deployment and other things, they do not hesitate to let me know, and will not hesitate to let you know as we go through and make a judgment. Budget's a fluid document. It's not set in concrete. We make adjustments all throughout the court. We make an adjustment every single quarter. We do a mid-year budget review as well, so we're always evaluating that.
Thank you. I also would like to share, just since we're on the topic of public safety, that if anyone who's watching on TV or is here in the audience are interested in volunteering with our Sheriff's Department, we have a volunteer on patrol, and the Sheriff's Department will train you. You have some classes to go to, and you also, I believe they will be you can ask to be in Temple City, and you don't carry weapons, and you basically are additional eyes and ears for the sheriffs, and you patrol around in the community to see if there's anything that possibly would look suspicious. If anybody is interested in volunteering, you have some time, maybe 6 hours a week or so, please contact, is it Deputy Harrington?
Yes.
Deputy Harrington at the Sheriff's Station, and he can give you more information if you'd like to become part of that, or you know someone who maybe is retired and has some time to give back to the community. That would be a great opportunity for us also. Thank you for those comments. We're always concerned about public safety, and Helen and anyone else, I invite you to come to those sheriff's meetings on, it's the third Wednesday?
Yes.
Third Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
Fourth Wednesday.
Fourth Wednesday, 7 o'clock in the community room. And Jerry comes frequently, and you're free to ask questions. So I would encourage you to come. And it might be great for everybody to hear firsthand the experience that you went through to, share, and maybe some things we could do together to prevent those things in the future. So thank you. Is there anyone else before we move on? I saw a hand over here, and then Pastor.
Good evening, Honorable
Good evening.
Mayor and Council Member. My name is Jing Tang. I also want to echo not just Helen and Lucy's idea, but I want to add one more point on top of that. On top of increasing the safety budget, I don't know if the city ever considered or did a feasibility study to have our own police department. The reason I'm saying that is because thanks to the Mercy Housing Project, I had the experience personally contact several law enforcement agencies within the area and also out of the area in other part of California. I have to say that LA County Sheriff's Department is the hardest one to get information out of. Actually, I was not able to get any information out of them versus the other law enforcement agencies. I was able to, either me, myself, or our team members were able to get information either within a couple of days or the most a week based on the Public Request Act. I'm not saying that they're not doing their job. I just feel like they're so occupied and short-staffed that they might not be able to meet public's needs in a timely manner sometimes. So I want to present this idea. I don't know if the city ever considered or did a review or a feasibility study of having the city's own police department. For example, I think Temple City in terms of square footage is bigger than San Marino. So San Marino and most of the surrounding cities have their own police department. I just want to present this idea to see if you can, either you considered it before maybe years ago, and now if it's possible to bring it back to the table to do another review and evaluation to see if it's even feasible to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any, Pastor?
Helen, can you help me to translate to the Mandarin speaking? Cindy, right? Lucy. All right. I'm surprised the project of motels, Golden Motel housing project is resolved, because I heard a lot of will affect our community live material, but today. OK， 好，对不起 ，I forgot
所以你是我帮英翻中还中翻？
我现在中翻译，你帮我翻成英文好。
So, Pastor, it's...
I speak Mandarin. She helped me to speak.
But I believe the public hearing is on the budget, but there is another opportunity at the end of the meeting to speak to anything you'd like.
Okay, thank you. Later.
Okay, later. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else on the budget?
It's a budget. I have an opinion.
Okay.
不用，谢谢。Because I come from Taiwan, 19 immigrate to States in 1984. I look at Taiwan's land house for only 200,000. $20,000, you can buy the house. And Taipei City is only 200,000. 2,000 years. I went to the Guangzhou and the Shanghai. The land is very cheap. So that 5 years ago, I have a friend from the Beijing. He do the program. I mentioned this just to let you know the budget. He come to visit us and see how much the Temple City Arcadia. $300,000. He said, what? 500,000? Buy it. Because in Beijing or Guangzhou, this price only buy the floor, isn't that a house? So that the problem is here, because in our Chinese community, the famous area in Los Angeles is San Marino, Arcadia, Temple City. Why they know? Because there is a good community. So if we can provide the good location, have a good school, have a good society, a security place, the money is not a problem. The problem is here, how to provide the nice area. That is important for us. So that is just, I saw the budget. That is only million a city. That is not big deal. Is that right, Helen? Helen, you are property. You do the property, right? Real estate. So maybe you can, if a city whole council any project, you maybe can ask do the real estate, how to increase the real estate tax. Doesn't matter, because just like my wife tell me, you are property, not give to the children. You give to whom? You understand what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Pastor. Was there someone else who wanted to speak? Jerry?
Can I just make one short comment?
Sure.
Thank you. I don't think I used all my 3 minutes the last time, so I'll make up for it now. But I appreciate City Manager Cook bringing up the sheriff's meeting on the fourth Wednesday of the month. But don't forget Neighborhood Watch meetings every month for 10 months, first 10 months. And last Wednesday was absolutely wonderful. We had 4 deputies there, including Sergeant Miranda. We had Joe Zuniga. We had Rick Adams, and we had Van Lamb. And I'm telling you, it was a great session. So if you want to know how to protect your home and what's going on in the city, come on out. You get a free taco dinner at 5:30. I'm not sure where it's going to be next month, but check the city's website, and I'm sure you can find it there. The second thing is, in my limited experience regarding sheriffs and having your own police, this was explored probably 20, 25 years ago when people were upset and they wanted their own police department. Well, to come to find out, it's going to cost about 3 times as much as what we're paying now, and we're not going to have all the resources of the sheriff's department. Plus, you're going to have retirement benefits and lawsuits and all kinds of stuff you haven't had to deal with before. So that's just, I think I used up my 3 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you.
We actually looked at it kind of informally about
gonna say 5 years ago?
6 years
Yeah.
ago. Remember, Vince?
Yeah.
And the reasons were a few, of course, but mostly the cost. And we do lose a lot of the services that we do have now. So.
May I just also add to that, Madam?
Yes.
Mayor? I think that the idea of thinking that if we have our own police department, necessarily have better public safety, that's probably is a myth, as not borne up by facts. As a matter of fact, the sheriff's department is the largest sheriff department in the United States. It has it's actually one of the largest, not the largest, but one of the largest department within LA County government. Has about 17, almost 18,000 employees. Their employees equal to half our population. So that's why if you were to ask for anything from the sheriff's department, it does go through a lot of bureaucracies. However, it is the sort of last resort agency that actually all local police department, if they run into trouble, they run back to the sheriff's department to ask for help. So, and then Mr. Jambasian's point about the budget is so important. Most cities that experience, because we're talking about budget tonight, most cities that actually experience budgetary issues, problems, deficits, have to lay off and cut services, are the ones, if you look at it historically, they're the one with their own police department. Their budget for public safety runs in the range of 50 to 60 or even more percentages. And they are the one that's now looking at not knowing how to pay for the retired public safety folks. So, and Mr. Cook mentioned about our model as a contract city. It is not like we cannot improve our public safety policy, and then maybe we actually should re-examine our budget. But in general, I think we're getting a lot of bang for our bucks. We pay roughly about 30-35% of our budget into public safety, compared to most cities. And like Councilmember Chavez already said, several years ago we actually looked into that again, and then the answer was it's going to roughly cost us double the amount of money. In the end, whether or not you get actually better service is questionable. Right now, the dedicated deputies deal with Tamil City, but should there be a crime or any needs, we do go to, we do pull deputies from the Sheriff's Department, the local Temple City station to help out, and also if there's a need to, they pull from other stations as well. So I think we certainly appreciate the comments, and but I think we have a pretty good system going on right now.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
You know, and I also appreciate the comments, Addie, and I think they're very good. I would just like to reiterate that, you know, not throwing money at something isn't always the answer. If it were, then we'd be able to solve a lot of our problems, or maybe many of them, but, you know, our sheriffs or any police department for that matter needs our help, meaning all of us together. And as Lucy mentioned, and as Jerry mentioned, our Neighborhood Watch program is a model program for many, many cities, and we do a really good job with that. And if you haven't attended a Neighborhood Watch program, I would certainly urge you to do so. You will learn so many things, not only about how the city works, what the sheriffs do or don't do, but how we can all protect each other. Because, as you know, it's all of us that are going to watch out for each other. We're the eyes and ears of our law enforcement, and they really need our help because they can't be everywhere at all times. But one of the things that was mentioned earlier, there are sometimes problems, and if the sheriff, or you feel the sheriff, or anyone for that matter, is not doing something, please let us know, because many times we're not even aware of that. And once you let us know, we will follow up on that. Well, that's one of the advantages of coming to that morning meeting that we have with the sheriffs, is to come and express those ideas and those thoughts, and we will follow up. There's no question about that. So, don't hesitate to let us know if things don't go according to plan, or you feel that something could have been done better, and we certainly will look into it. But, thank you for all you guys do. And again, many of you have already attended the Neighborhood Watch. Of course, we don't have any numbers to be able to say, well, how many crimes have those people who have attended those programs have prevented. I'm sure the numbers can be staggering if we could ever put that together, because we do a good job as a community in helping our sheriffs, I think, anyway. So,
okay, can I make one more statement? I just wanted to say, in the last 2 years, we have seen a big increase in burglaries. And what I did with my neighbors on my street was, we are all so busy that a lot of us don't know each other. I've been on my street for 32 years. I know a few neighbors, but a lot of people have moved. A lot of people have moved away, retired. And I was noticing that I really, out of maybe 50 people on the street, I knew like 4. That's not very good. So what I did was I got together with a few of my neighbors, and now we have barbecues twice a year. We invite every single person that lives on the street. We exchange emails and phone numbers. It's really nice to be able to get up in the morning and say good morning to your neighbor, actually know their name. Maybe they'll tell you if they're on vacation, what kind of car they drive, what they do for a living. And for me, it's very comforting. There's been a few times where there's maybe something on the street and I'm not really sure if they're supposed to be on that street. And guess what? I will text my neighbor. I wouldn't have done that a year ago. I wouldn't have done that 18 months ago because I didn't know my neighbors. They will text me, Nan, there's a strange car in front of your house. Why is it there? Is that somebody who's visiting you? And I will say it takes great comfort in getting a text message or a phone call at maybe 9 or 10 o'clock at night when someone says, Nan, your garage door's open. Is everything okay? Something going on? Just to be able to look out for each other. We don't have that a lot anymore. I know we all have busy lives. Everybody's working, raising kids, and believe me, I'm very guilty of that. But I do set time aside to get to know my neighbors. And it's very important because the sheriffs do an excellent job, but they can't be everywhere. They can't. And even if we added 10 more patrol cars and paid another $200,000-$300,000, they cannot be everywhere. And this is happening in all our other cities surrounding us too. So don't think it's just Temple City. So again, I encourage you to take the time and go next door, meet your neighbors, introduce yourselves, and just look out for each other.
Okay. Anyone else? Council?
Mayor, just one quick thing. Speaking of numbers, I know Councilmember Chavez mentioned we don't have much numbers, but the one statistic that always stuck with me from one of the Neighborhood Watch meetings, this was around 2 years ago. I remember Deputy Rick Adams had said something maybe don't quote me on this, but he mentioned that 4 out of 5 arrests that Temple Station makes are based on calls from residents. So that shows you how important it is for you to know your neighbors, know your neighborhood, and also know your local law enforcement deputies, so that if you see something strange, you're not afraid to call the station. And yeah, the LA County Sheriffs may be a big bureaucracy, but they have a lot of resources at the same time. So when they put their weight behind something, they're most certainly going to have an effect. So yeah, I would encourage everyone to, I want to echo Councilmember Chavez's comments about attending a neighborhood watch meeting, as well as knowing your neighbor as well. Like my neighbor, just to follow up on your comment, actually calls me every time I get a package in front of my house and asks me if I want them to take it in for me. I'm lucky to have someone that I can trust and is always looking out for me. So especially when we go on a trip or something. So yeah, it really at the bottom of it, we want to think that the sheriffs can do everything, but they can't be everywhere at the same time. But our neighbors, some of our neighbors might actually be at home a lot of times. So they're actually the best eyes that we have to prevent crimes from happening.
I think, and it's that simple phrase that we've heard over and over, see something, say something. So keep that in the back of your mind. You see something, call a neighbor. If you don't feel comfortable that you don't know your neighbor at this point, call the sheriff's department. That was one of the first phone numbers I learned in Temple City, even before I could even memorize my own, was to call the sheriff's station. And I don't call 911 if I'm just think there might be a problem. I'll call the 285 number and 7171. So it's similar to City Hall a little bit, because sometimes I get them a little bit confused. But anyway, see something, say something, and let's all work together to try and keep our communities safe. I think it's great ideas. We can always revisit the budget and public safety, and just encourage you to come out to those monthly meetings. Okay, I'm going to close public hearing if there's no one else. I think council has pretty much.
May I just add one note? I mean, one other way to truly help our public safety actually is volunteer at not just for the program that the mayor mentioned. You can volunteer to become sheriff, a volunteer sheriff too, right? So actually, we want to thank Ed here, because he's doing it for free. He is a volunteer that volunteered to help patrol. It's a product of Temple City High School, Temple City resident as well, but he's here to keep the community safe.
And Ed, you're an actual sworn sheriff now, but you're a reservist.
He's a reserve, and so he's free. So that's the ultimate contribution to, yeah. So.
And Ed still lives in Temple City and is raising a young son in our city and knows the value of contributing. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other council comments, I am going to call for a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll move to. Actually, I just lost myself. I'll move to adopt Resolution 17-5261, approving the fiscal year 17-18 city budget, and to make the finding that the city is in compliance with Government Code Section 66000.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. If no objection, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. We're on E now.
Yes.
Okay, we move to item E. Introduction and first reading of ordinance number 17-1022, amending Title IX, Chapter 1 of the Temple City Municipal Code pertaining to the regulation of accessory dwelling units, and amending Titles 5 and 9 of the Temple City Municipal Code to make administrative changes. Mr. Cook?
Mayor Sternquist, members of the council, before you today is a revisit of the accessory dwelling unit ordinance that is, with our friends in the state of California, have mandated us to implement. We have been challenged over the last few months as well, and at the beginning of the year of people coming in, and we wanted to do something that was consistent with the character and the nature of the city, but allowing to comply with state law. You had asked some questions at our last meeting, a majority of which, and this was referred back to the Planning Commission because there were some questions that hadn't been addressed prior. I think the majority of your recommendations, the Planning Commission considered. Any deviations from that, there is a nexus between the overall or overarching goals that the City Council was trying to achieve and what is being presented before you for your consideration as an ordinance related to accessory dwelling units. And with that, I will let Scott, our planning manager, present.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. As a means of background for the members of the public who are here tonight, the state mandated some changes to relax restrictions on what are called accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units are second units in residential single-family neighborhoods. So the city, because of this requirement, must revise its zoning code. The Planning Commission provided a recommendation to the council back on February 28th. The City Council held a hearing on those recommendations on April 18th, considered some additional changes to the ordinance, and sent those changes back to the Planning Commission for input. The Planning Commission reviewed those recommended changes on May 9th, and that's what we're bringing forward to you tonight. The council asked the Planning Commission to look at 4 specific items regarding that ordinance. The first is limiting accessory structures to just 1 per lot. An accessory structure is something like an ADU, a shed, a pool house, a garage, anything besides really the main dwelling unit. Secondly, allowing lots with a main house less than 1,280 square feet to have an ADU of at least up to 640 square feet. So if you have a smaller house, you could at least have a 640 square foot unit. Increasing the maximum height to 18 feet, and then increasing the detached increasing the detached ADU rear yard setback to 15 feet. So in response, the Planning Commission looked at each of these issues. On issue A, limiting the number of accessory structures on a lot to 1 per lot, they agreed, but they recommended exempting required garages from that requirement. In relation to allowing a minimum size of 640 square feet, no matter the size of the front main house, they agreed. In relation to the maximum height of the ADU at 18 feet, they agreed with that, but also suggested a top plate height. The top plate is basically the ceiling height, so your ceiling could not exceed more than 9 feet in height. And then lastly, the 15-foot rear yard setback for detached ADUs. The Planning Commission recommended a 10-foot setback, and that was in order to encourage detached ADUs. Detached ADUs do not require or do require parking. So I'll go into each of these with a little bit more depth. In relation to the maximum number of accessory structures, right now the code does not limit the number of accessory structures on a lot. So you could potentially have a garage and a shed and a guest house and a pool house. What the Planning Commission is recommending is a maximum of 1 of these per lot, but exempting from that the required garage space. What this does is it addresses the concern about a proliferation of accessory structures. What exempting the garage does is it incentivizes someone to keep their garage and not convert it. What the benefit to the city is that then we get parking on site instead of having the parking out in the street. In relation to the maximum size of accessory structures, right now there is no maximum size, except that if it's more than 500 square feet, they have to go to the Planning Commission for a conditional use permit. The Planning Commission has recommended and has agreed with the council that an ADU should be at least up to 640 square feet in size. So if you had a smaller house, 1,000 square feet, you could, under the code that's being recommended, you would allow to have an accessory structure of up to 500 square feet in size. With this change, they would be allowed to increase that up to at least 640. The number 640 comes from the city's existing code that allows a second unit of up to 640 square feet. So we're basically not taking away someone's existing right. In relation to building height, the existing code allows an 18-foot maximum for single-story structures. The Planning Commission agreed with the City Council to apply that to new ADUs, but recommended what's called a maximum top plate height of 9 feet. The top plate, again, is the ceiling height. So how do we make sure that these structures aren't as tall as they need to be? One thing that will help is there's a requirement in the code that the ADU has to have the same roof pitch as the front unit. Most of the roof pitches in Temple City are not that steep, so we're not likely to see a lot of 18-foot high accessory structures or ADUs. The reason why a top plate is suggested is that what we don't want to see is someone try and convert a one-story accessory structure into a two-story accessory structure. So that's why we're recommending placing that top plate height in there. Lastly, in relation to the rear yard setback, the existing code requires a 15-foot setback for accessory structures with living areas, and doesn't require any setback for accessory structures that do not have living areas. So your garage can be all the way to the rear property line, but once it has living area inside, it has to have a 15-foot setback. So what the Planning Commission was trying to balance was providing enough buffer from this ADU to the unit, to the person living behind, while at the same time, if you require such a large rear yard setback, you may be pushing the ADU closer and closer to the front house. Once that ADU is attached to the front house, you do not need to provide any parking. So what the Planning Commission was trying to do is balance trying to get parking but still provide buffering. So their recommendation to you was 10 feet for a rear yard setback, but if the council's more concerned about buffering, then a 15-foot setback would be what the existing code allows. This is a diagram of what you might find with a detached accessory dwelling unit. The setback in the rear would be 10 feet. There is a required 10-foot separation between the new accessory structure in the rear and the existing house. So if we increase that rear yard setback to 15, 20, 25 feet, then at some point the person has to attach the two structures, and then we lose on-site parking. With that, the City Council is requested to introduce for first reading by title only and waive further reading of this ordinance, and schedule the second reading of ordinance number 17-1022 for July 5th, 2017.
Thank you, Mr. Reimers. Do we have any council questions?
I have one quick question, Mayor. So, Mr. Reimers, if I understand, if we exempt the required garage, that means someone can, in theory, have an existing detached garage, and if they had room and met all the other criteria, they can build an accessory dwelling unit that's separate from the main house and the detached garage.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Like to open the public hearing? Anyone? Close public hearing. Council comments? Mr. Yu? Council member?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I just want to say that appreciate the thought the staff and the Planning Commission put into it. I think they actually heard our concerns and they really refined it and come back with better recommendations. So I really appreciate what they've done.
I agree. Anyone else? Okay, council motion?
Madam Mayor, I would make a motion that we introduce for first reading by title only and waive further reading ordinance number 17-1022, amending Title 9, Chapter 1 of the Temple City Municipal Code pertaining to the regulation of accessory dwelling units, and amending Titles 5 and 9 of the Temple City Municipal Code to make administrative changes, and that we schedule the second reading of ordinance number 17-1022 for July 5th, 2017.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been moved and seconded. If no objection, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes.
And also, may I read the title of the ordinance, Mayor?
Yes.
Ordinance number 17-1022, an ordinance of the City Council of City of Temple City, California, amending Title 9, Chapter 1 of the Temple City Municipal Code pertaining to the regulation of accessory dwelling units, and amending Titles 5 and 9 of the Temple City Municipal Code to make administrative changes.
And 2 also, or did you do, schedule the second reading? Yes, okay, sorry, I didn't hear that. Okay, we move to item 9, unfinished business, none, new business. Letter of opposition, Senate Bill 231. Mr. Cook?
Mayor Sternquist, members of the council, at the request of the mayor and some of the council members as well, we've brought forward for your consideration a letter of opposition to SB 231. Very briefly, Proposition 218, which is a statewide proposition passed in 1987, requires that the public kind of consent to any certain types of fee increases and in particular tax increases. Prop 218 kind of defined what areas of increases there are. For example, you may get something in the mail related to sewer increases from the county sanitation district. There's processes that are there. One of the challenges cities have been facing is funding the stormwater mandates through what's called the MS4 permit. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but just very briefly, for the members of the public are here. State of California, through the Environmental Quality Act and Clean Water Act, excuse me, and mandated by the state of California, is forcing cities to look at the water that comes when it rains and hits the storm drains to essentially be potable water when it hits the ocean. Some significant challenges, and as I've stated unequivocally before, I think some unreasonable challenges to be met. We are part of a group that addresses that. Problem is, it's a $20 billion problem countywide that has no funding attached to it, and I don't think an achievable amount of funding attached to it. So one of the ideas that was brought forward was for, through the 218 process, for agencies, not just Temple City, but agencies probably outside of our jurisdiction or outside of our control. I'm thinking the County of Los Angeles or other districts that could pass along a substantial fee to fund this program, possibly in the hundreds of dollars a year, to fund this program without the ability for them to practically protest that vote. So this is before you. Some of your fellow agencies around have are also sending in letters of opposition. There are other agencies that look at this a little bit differently, but I think the broader concern for our agency is that if not Temple City doing this, but someone outside of Temple City doing this and imposing those fees on our property owners.
And actually, that estimate from the Council of Governments that did research on it was between $1,000 and $1,500 possibly per resident per year. Wow. So most of the cities in the COG have voted to send a letter of opposition. So are there any questions from council? Public comment? Closed public?
Wait, you got one.
Oh, Helen?
Good evening, Helen again. I actually called Assembly member at Chow's office today and then to ask him to vote no on this Senator bill. And then I think just whether, I believe most of the homeowners didn't know this at all. So I don't know whether we have do some effort to let people know, have the word spread out, because we do need homeowners to, on our side too.
I actually think that many of the cities, the residents were somewhat in the same boat, because basically it was by changing one word, I can't recall what it was, from something to sewer actually made the difference. And so it was almost quickly put on the floor to be voted on. And I think it's either this in the next couple of days or has happened. It is the next couple of days. So, but thank you for doing that. And it's just something that if people don't read every single thing, it can slip by us. And so I wanted to at least send a letter on behalf of our residents in opposition. So
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Madam Mayor, I just add to that. I think this being a Senate bill, we'll probably get more mileage by actually contacting Senator Hernandez's office than our Assembly Member Chow. So.
And they are sending the Council of Governments on the city's.
No, I meant the residents.
Oh,
They
the
can
resident.
contact
Okay.
Senator Hernandez's office. So, yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, close public comment. Any more council comment? Okay, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. A motion to approve the attached letter in opposition to Senate Bill 231, which if adopted, would impose stormwater management fees on property owners without voter approval, and authorize the mayor to submit said letter on behalf of the council.
A second.
Okay, if no objection, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
Yes. Okay. We move to item B, co-sponsor of the 2017 Moon Festival and Fun Party with World Journal LA LLC.
Mayor Sternquist, members of the council, I will let, I'll turn it over to Mayor Yu and Mayor Pro Tem Mann in just a moment. But very briefly, we have an very exciting opportunity, and I'd like to thank members of the staff of the World Journal that are in the back there. If they can wait for being here a little late. They had come to us with the idea of proposing a project that we don't do, which is the Moon Festival, and that's explained in your staff report, what that Moon Festival entails. Something that we don't do on the staff level, or it's a gap in events that we have here in the city. World Journal came to us and will be bearing the majority of the expenses and effort, planning otherwise, and asking for our support in using our venue, a one-day festival, a minimum amount of the expenses, and compared to the entire expense of the entire program. We will make sure, and World Journal has done many events throughout. They are a well-known organization. They are a professional staff who will bring good support and planning and making sure all the proper permitting is done, all the proper logistics are done with this project. And you saw the list of activities that they would be proposing as well, which we would think would make for an exciting one-day event, not too overwhelming, but enough for us to have enough capacity with staff and everybody else to do that. I've been to several World Journals events as well. They're very well planned and organized. So with that, I turn it over to Councilmember Yu or Councilmember Mann. Anything else?
Well, I think when...
Are they doing a report or something? Or?
No, just they outreach to them too.
No, yeah, actually, World Journal actually outreached to us, and then we brought that back into the city manager. But the only thing I wanted to add is that I've been to a few of their events in other cities, and they are actually very well organized. We have had a Moon Festival event some years in the past. It happened to fall on the hottest day of the year, and it was very well received. But that was done by a different organization, and I think we've been trying to put together the Lunar New Year event, and that's always run into the situation of it gets so close to the Camila Festival, and just a lot of work, and folks may get a little festival fatigue, if you will. So. So when they brought this in, so we contacted City Manager Cook, and then I think we put together a decent program together. So I just want to let you know they did talk to reach out to Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Mann and myself. So I just want to also say that Moon Festival is a pretty important event for the Asian community in the city. So this will be a good, fun event. It's a little bit time after our summer concert series, so it's kind of and school has already started, so it's kind of a nice fall festival, if you will, for our city. So.
Are there any questions from council?
Wait, I think he wants to say something.
I'll just say something really quickly. When World Journal outreached to us, I think there were a couple of key important things that we kind of discussed, and one was recognizing that a city of our size can only do so much, and so we're trying to find a balance between something that's overwhelming in terms of scale, cost, and the burden on us as a city of our size, and also trying to bring in something that we really can't do ourselves. And I think that's where that partnership comes in. You know, we're not, one common comparison would be to, you know, prior Lunar New Year festivals that we've done with other organizations. But it's not that scale. And I think we were concerned about starting off with something so large that we may not really be able to control. So I really appreciate World Journal really understanding that, you know, we're very unique in our way. We're not Monterey Park. We're not Arcadia. We're not San Gabriel. And really bringing it to a scale that really, in my opinion, fits our community. And also the price, I do appreciate them sharing the line, bearing the lion's cost of the event, as well as as I'm sure Councilmember Fish knows, the time and effort it takes to plan something, no matter how big or small, it does take a lot of time and effort. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. I think this would be a good opportunity for us to try something a little different in a period of time that doesn't really conflict with some of the main festivals or priorities that we have as a long-standing tradition in the city.
Okay. Anyone else?
I have a question, and I'm not sure who to address it to.
Yeah, you can address it to me.
Okay. Did they express any interest in this being an annual event?
Not right. I think this is the first time.
Or are we
out,
waiting to see how it's going?
We're waiting to see, but I think there will probably be a desire to look at this annually, but this is the first go around.
Right.
So we want to see how it goes. But yeah, I think there probably will be some level of interest of doing it annually if we find it works for everybody, including them and us.
Okay.
Well, they're here. We can ask.
When is the fall festival? The fall festival? When in October? Middle of October.
So it won't come up.
Anybody else? Tom?
Yes, I have some questions. After reading the report, I had several questions, and I addressed those with our city manager, and we discussed those coming up, but since they did not come up tonight, I'm going to ask them again. I'm kind of uncertain from the report, and it's been referred that World Journal is going to pick up the majority of the expenses, but I saw the numbers that we're going to be spending. I didn't see any numbers on their behalf. And so I'm a little confused as to what those expenses are going to be. So I don't know if anybody has any information on that. It seems in reading the report that we're doing the bulk of the work and contributing some monies to this event, but I'm not really sure what World Journal is going to be doing in this co-sponsorship.
Sure. If I can.
Yeah.
So the numbers that we've gotten, it's probably about $60,000 to produce the event overall. They'll be providing all the entertainment, the power, there'll be a lot of food booths at that festival. So all the required health permitting, all of the required regulatory permitting that goes along with that, all the power sourcing, all that, and it won't be the carnival rides that you'll see at like a Camellia festival, but there will be rides and those kind of things. So those rentals, the entertainment, they are going to try to pull in local entertainment as well, but there will be some entertainment as well. You'll see what is called their large moon cake and other expenses as well related to that.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that this is not a profit-driven event for World Journal?
I can't speak for them exactly, but in speaking with them, these events usually aren't profit. This is more about publicity for the city, publicity for World Journal, and those types of things as well.
Do we, maybe Kathy, you might know, do we do something similar for the Fall Festival as well?
No.
As far as expenses, and how does that work? I know that's a co-sponsor with the School District, I believe.
The Fall Festival that we traditionally have done over the last, several years is done in coordination with the Temple City School District, the Performing Arts Boosters. It is a much, much smaller event. The school district provides entertainment through their vocal and performing arts students. And then they also do fundraising through silent auctions. And the city provides activities for the children, for youth. And in the past, we've done a collector car show as well.
Now, I noted, thank you. I noted in the report that they're going to be, it looks like they're going to be getting sponsors. So is that going to be sponsors in the way of donating money to this event, or who gets the sponsorship money, and is that going to offset the $60,000 that you were talking about?
They will obviously have their own financial arrangements, and with their sponsors, we're not participating in that effort with them. But we'll make sure we can talk to them about making sure these sponsors are appropriate and those kind of things. But in having worked other events as well, sometimes those sponsorships are about trade and other things that maybe not necessarily cash in an event. I can't speak to if that's going to be offsetting anything related to this event, but in other types of programmings, there's sometimes those are in trade and other services as well.
Well, that kind of leads me to my next question, and that is, are we going to be part of the planning and the types of booth and types of sponsors that are going to be coming into our city, or is that going to just be left to the discretion of World Journal?
No, we will be working, they will have to go through the full permitting process with us. Excuse me. The full permitting process, just as if any other entity came into the park and was jointly doing an event with us. So that includes all the health permitting, walking through, for example, entertainment. We want to make sure that if a certain type of entertainment is going to bring a certain crowd, that we have the capacity to deal with that. World Journal is a reputable organization that we can expect, appropriate sponsorships and whatnot related to the event.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, but rather than just going on faith and reputation, I would like to have a little more assurance that we have a player in the game.
Yeah, and we can do that through the permitting process.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
Okay, anyone else? Okay.
I'd
Like to open, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'd like to open the public comment. I have one, Steve Stafford.
Mayor Sternquist, Mayor Pro Tempore Mann, council members, city staff. I have one question. Are they going to be bringing alcohol during this festival there?
No, alcohol is not permitted during this event and not permitted in the parks. So,
Secondly, are they going to be blocking Las Tunas with the rides like they do for the Camellia Festival?
Yes.
there won't be the same types of rides as the Camellia Festival, but there will be some type of rides and entertainment, but not to the scale of what the Camellia Festival provides.
Thank you.
But Las Tunas will be closed.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, not even a day.
Well,
Anyone else?
morning to evening.
Jerry? Oh. Jerry and then Lucy? Oh.
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. After I get through with this, I might feel as welcome as a shark at a swimming party, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I just so I don't ramble on, I jotted down some notes this afternoon, and I just want to present them to you. I'm questioning the city's financial and manpower contribution to the Moon Festival. World Journal is a for-profit company doing about $50 million a year in the San Gabriel Valley. The only reason they are requesting a co-sponsorship with the city is so the city will pick up some of the tab. We seem to be known as the go-to city for putting on these type of events. We have a beautiful park with a performing arts pavilion, and to top it off, we are willing to close down our major street. With all their generosity, they are happy to have Temple City co-sponsor this event so they can get what they need. They want our city to pay $5,600 for LA County Sheriff's personnel and city staff, and they also want the city to cover $8,500 in additional related expenses. And some of these expenses, I think, in the last 5 minutes have been presented as they were going to do that, but actually the city is going to be doing it, if you look at the proposal. Plus a large banner hanging on the street that normally nonprofits in Temple City have to pay $475 for. And they're providing we're providing sheriff and fire personnel, renting the tents, tables, chairs, temporary restrooms, 3 washing sinks for food, hire a professional audio and video provider, hire a professional electrical team, hire a professional cleaning crews, pay for event setup and close down staff, pay for advertising costs in major English newspapers and social medias, and waive all required permits and approvals. There will also be merchants selling merchandise. Since they are taking money out of the city, are they required to have a business license? Do they record and pay sales taxes to the Franchise Tax Board? Does the city receive a portion of these sales taxes? World Journal has said, and I'm quoting now, World Journal will undoubtedly help enhance Temple City's image and the interaction and relationship between its residents and the city governance, close quote. I would like to submit to you that Temple City is doing extremely well with its image. It does not need an outside organization to enhance that image. Our recent form of city government and its citizens are to be congratulated for that. Please understand that I do not have an issue with having the Moon Festival. I kind of think it's going to be great. But with a predominant Chinese community as its residents, I think this is a wonderful opportunity to show off their culture. What I do have an issue with is having Tsingtao a year and a half ago, almost mirroring what the World Journal is asking for. The city had to pay about $20,000 for Tsingtao to have the Lunar New Year event in our city. What a wonderful gesture on their part, allowing our city to pay, seeing they are a company worth $2.4 billion. Please don't fall for the financial arrangement. There's only one reason they want to be the sponsor. It should be the other way around. They should be paying you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Is there anyone else? Lucy?
Speech galore tonight. Just a question, what was the time frame for this event? I don't see it on the, and I didn't read
It's
behind.
from 2 to 9?
2 to 11.
2 to 11,
One day, though?
one day.
Okay, thank you.
2 in the afternoon till 11 at night.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, closed public comment. Any council comment? Councilmember Chavez?
Well, you know, what I said before, the questions I was asking, I think kind of got to what Jerry was talking about. I certainly don't have any problem with the event itself. We've had these types of events in our city before. And they've seemed to have worked very well, and I'm sure this one will as well. I'm just concerned about what I perceive, and even though our city manager has done a good job of explaining in theory what World Journal is going to be doing, that the balance of what we're going to be providing versus what World Journal is basically going to be providing is a little skewed, and especially when I see amounts such as for Los Angeles sheriffs, things like that, especially tonight after we've been talking about the fact that we need to hire more sheriffs for our public safety in our communities. It doesn't seem to be a very good use of our funds when you have someone on the other side who certainly can afford these types of things and also is going to be, at least according to their report, going to be getting sponsors for many of these things. How much that's going to be, I have no idea, because that hasn't been provided to us. So in theory, I'm okay with the event. I just have a little bit of trouble with the amount of monies and the things that we're going to be providing. Keeping in mind that these are not in the budget, And so these would have to be an appropriation, I believe, correct?
First quarter budget.
Okay, so.
Okay,
That's my thought.
Councilmember Fish?
I actually have two things. One thing again, I do support the actual event, but I would feel a little bit more comfortable, since this is actually a big corporation, if they were going to make maybe a donation to something that involves the city, like maybe the library. Just throwing it out there. With the Kamua Festival, you know, they're a nonprofit. All the money goes back in the community. So I am actually questioning the same thing that Councilmember Chavez is, that they are a big company, and I would assume, maybe I'm wrong, with them being so large, that they actually have some type of a budget to have these events for advertisement or whatever. So I am concerned with that. The other thing is, and I know this is reaching, if it is going to become an annual event, I would like to see an actual agreement with the city, like the Kamua Festival has to do. That's a formal agreement where everything is in writing over who is going to pay for what, and that is approved by the city attorney. So again, maybe not for this event, because it's going to be only 3 months away. But if we're going to make it an annual event, I would really like to. I would have to have that. So like I said, I'm other than the entertainment factor, I'd like to know what else we're actually getting back from this event. If somebody has a question for me or an answer for me.
Them to respond?
Yeah. Are they here? Who's here?
Ken from World Journal's here, who's one of the event organizers. But did you want to speak? Okay.
Okay.
No? Yes?
No?
Or-
Did you want to? We're related to the event itself. The entertainment and whatnot that we'll be doing, or World Journal will be doing, will be pretty extensive throughout the day. Kind of finalizing those details. This is our first go around with this too, but there'll be an extensive amount of entertainment throughout the day.
I have a question for you. If we were to put it on just the city, how much would it cost us?
We honestly,
That's
to the extent of what they're doing, at the capacity of where we are from a staffing standpoint, it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible. It would be extremely difficult for us to do it at the scale that they're proposing.
Okay.
But I'll let
Okay,
it would be extremely difficult to do that. That's why we look towards other partners to assist us in essentially doing these types of events and paying what we're proposing to pay.
Okay.
There's no way we could do it with the payment schedule that we're proposing with this co-sponsorship.
Okay, and I have one more question, I'm sorry. Do we have a Lunar New Year celebration lined up?
Well, you do have a Lunar New Year budgeted for next year, and we can talk to the Temple City Chinese Association for next year.
Okay, so
this is a totally separate event.
I know, but we do have something in the works already for February for Lunar
We don't
New
have it completely planned yet, but
we have it. But we have it.
You have some money budgeted.
Okay, all right.
Good evening, council member. My name is Cole 19, and I'm the deputy manager and also the event coordinator. And stand by my side, he's Albert Chen, he's our PR director. So we are glad that we can be here answering all your questions. First of all, we've been hosting the Lunar New Year Festival with City of Monterey Park in the past six years. After
You've been hosting it where?
6 years.
City of Monterey Park.
Oh, Monterey Park.
Monterey Park for the past 6 years, after they've been struggle and exchange for so many event organizer for the past 20 years. And then after we co-host the event with City of Monterey Park, we have extended the whole event from 3 blocks to right now 7 blocks for 2017. And we will be continuing cooperate with City of Monterey Park for this big event. And first of all, I want to explain that all the event costs money. We are not using the event to making money. We want to give back to the community, not only the City of Monterey Park, because my company based on City of Monterey Park. But for the nearby city like San Gabriel, Temple City, San Gabriel, and Alhambra, and Acadia, we all trying to cooperate and co-work with all the city to produce some kind of event, cultural event, not only for the Chinese community, also for the Asian community. And eventually, we are not only for the certain kind of Asian population, we are like Monterey Park event, we have the Cinco de Mayo performance, all the Latin dances, all kind of cultural differences programs. So it's similar in the Moon Festival. Moon's Festival is actually celebrating in the Asian community, very popular. So we are trying to bring this Moon Festival to the Temple City. In the past years, when we work with City of Monterey Park, for the event, Lunar New Year event, every year we attract about over 100,000 people for 2 days event. So, but we are not planning to bring this kind of a big event to Temple City. For this first year, if council member approved, we anticipate for the 1-day event for 9 hours, we anticipate we can attract about 20,000 people here. And it's a big challenge. Now, for answering the question from Councilmember Chavez, that, like I said, all the event costs money. So we have provided a cost estimate to city manager, and it's about $60,000. Now, why?
Does that include all the things that we're going to be providing? Or?
Right.
Okay.
Not including to rent the facility, the park, or but it did including the LA County Force manpower and also the city staff manpower. Those 2 items will be included. Total is about.
That's included in your 60,000 estimate.
Yeah, that's all included.
Okay.
In the itemized, we planned to have 100 booths. And among the 100, there's 40 booths for food vendors and 60 for the merchant vendors. But for each of those food, the tent, we have to hire a professional company to set it up within that short of time. It's not like any Temple City, the past, you've been having so many events in the park or on the street. You have so many volunteers to set up the tent. You have so many times to set up the tent. But we are minimize the influence of the traffic, so we're gonna block this from Kaufman to Golden West, this one section from 6 in the morning. But we only have 6 in the morning to 12 noon. We only have 6 hours. We have to set up everything, all the tents on the street, and also the tents in the park. So we have to hire professional tent company to set up those tents.
And is that included in your 60,000?
Yes, those tent setup fee right now, the minimum charge is $125 for each tent. So you can imagine how much we're gonna cost for only setting up and tearing down the tent.
Do you have a charge for the use of the booths to the organizations?
Do I have what?
Is there a charge to the booths who are going to be using those, or to the organizations who are going to be using those booths? Do you charge them? Do you collect a fee?
Yeah, we planning to collect
How much
the
do you
vendors for $300 each booth.
So
Yeah,
each booth will generate $300 in income.
right, but it's not guaranteed. Right now, we have to feed back to the city or local organization for the free booth. Like Temple City, like Chamber of Commerce, we're gonna provide them the free booth.
Yeah, we're gonna have a number
Okay,
of
so
free booths.
of the 100 booths, how many are going to be free?
Maybe 10 to 15.
Okay, so you're going to pay, so let's say 85 booths are going to pay $300 each.
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay, so that equals 24, 25, that's $25,000 right there.
Right, right.
Just in those-
And then we got to cost for the food, as I mentioned, the 40 food booths, each 4 food booths need 1 3-component sink based on county health department requirement. So we have to rent those 3-component sink for the food booths to use.
But it looks like Temple City is paying for that, though. It says, on the things that we're going to provide, it says 3-component washing sinks for food vendors.
No, we're
Yeah.
sharing that cost.
But that didn't say that in my report. It says
That-
Temple City to also provide a support fund of $8,500 to offset the cost of following.
But
You know,
that is
I'm
it.
talking about the whole expenses of the event. For renting those 3-component sink for each 4 food booths is $400, the rental fee. So if we planning to have 40 food booths, we need to rent 10 of those 3-component sink, and it's about $40,000 already.
Does the city
$4,000 already.
Wait, how much?
4,000.
Okay.
That's
But again,
4,000.
this is included in a
Sorry, yeah.
60,000 budget.
All the mention I including is
Still in that
including into the $60,000.
Okay, so basically I've heard it's going to cost $60,000 to put this event on,
Right.
approximately.
Right.
You're
And
going
then-
to raise approximately $25,000 from the booth rentals.
Right.
And do you anticipate any other sponsorship fees or any other income as a result of putting this event on?
Yeah, we hope we can recruit some of the sponsor,
Okay.
but it's not guaranteed
Do
yet.
you anticipate? do you have
We
any budget for
anticipate
that?
have company to sponsor this event, of
How
course.
much approximately, yeah?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
So you're just gonna hope that money comes in, or?
We try our best. Okay.
That's
like,
putting a lot of faith, I think, and, I mean, is that how you guys normally operate? I mean, when you just kind of just hope that somebody comes forward?
we try our best to
Okay.
recruit.
Well, I understand you do that, but it's not a great way of
Councilmember
doing
Chavez,
business.
can I just ask, what does the city of Monterey Park, I mean, who do you get to sponsor for the city of Monterey Park, and what's an average sponsor give for a sponsorship?
Okay, in the past 6 years, we got sponsorship from the major company like Bank of America, Citibank, and Verizon, and AT&T.
How much do they usually sponsor? What's the
It
sponsorship?
depends. Yearly, they have different budget. We sponsor from, for the Lunar New Year is big event, so we start from 20,000.
So you could possibly get 20,000 from Bank of America?
Maybe. It's not
Maybe.
guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. And then as low as like 3,000
It'd be
from.
nice to get it from them, though.
Yeah, well, we hope so. We hope so. Yeah, but like for example, in the last year, we have the Moon Festival in the city of Monterey Park in the Barnes Park. We barely can find big sponsor. We only got 3,000 sponsorship, which means only $9,000 for the sponsorship of that event.
Where does the money from the food booths go? Who collects that?
We collect all the booth money to offsite all the equipment rental and also all the necessary
So
costs.
the money that's collected from the food vendors goes to World Journal?
We collect those money, but we pay for all the rental
You
of
use that to
the,
pay,
all the tents and the
but
three
that's still part of
components.
the 60,000 then?
Of course, yes.
And how much do you normally make from the food booths? Do you have an approximate, or do you have any estimate as how much money you think you'll make in this one day?
You mean for each food
Well,
booth?
total, just approximate.
It
5,000, 10,000?
No. For each food booth, they selling a plate like $5. For, you estimate for 1 hour how much plate they can sell? Maybe 30 plates. And then for 9 hours, it's 270 plates. And then times $5.
Okay.
Maximum $1,500 or $2,000 for a whole one-day event. Like this small size event, but if you have a bigger event like Lunar New Year Festival, you can make more money from each booth.
I'm sorry, how many food booths are you gonna have?
40.
So you're saying that of the 40 food booths, you're only gonna bring in a couple $1,000s?
Yes.
For that day?
Yes.
That doesn't seem to be an awful lot of money for
Well,
40 booths on one day.
Yeah, for 40 booths, they making their money by they selling their stuff because they're making good, delicious food.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, but we only collecting the money for the booth cost. They paying 300 or 350. So you times, we have 80 booths times 300, 350.
Okay, well, I was asking on the food booths, who collects the money when they sell food?
Oh, they collect the money.
They do it. Okay,
They
so that's-
collect the money. We don't touch that.
So you don't touch the money?
We don't
from
touch
food
the
booths.
money, they make
So
whatever.
whoever comes in, they pay their $300.
Right.
And they sell the food, and they, of course, they keep that money.
Yeah, of course.
As their profit.
Yeah, because they're working hard,
Okay,
for
all right,
whole
so-
day under
All right,
the
so
sun.
we misunderstood each other, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All right,
is that it?
yeah, unless they have anything more to add.
And then, yeah, well, if council have more questions, Water Journal actually taking over the events.
What happened, so you were doing this in Monterey Park,
Right.
and do they not want to do it anymore, or is that?
No, you mean, last year, actually, we're doing at Monterey Park in the Barnes Park, but it's a private event. It's not a city event because we don't have enough time to go through the city council process. So, yes, last year, we only can do it as a private event.
So this is to take the place of the Monterey Park
Yeah.
event?
Last year was in.
No, but this year, the one that you're doing, or the one that you want to do here in Temple City is to take the place of the one that you were doing in Monterey Park?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, we can do it in Monterey Park, but we don't want it.
You don't want it?
You don't want it, yeah.
Councilmember Chavez, maybe I add something to that. Last year, or earlier this year, we were supposed to have the partnership with Tsingtao for the Lunar New Year, and that's for whatever reason it fell through. At the time, I actually reached out to World Journal. I reached out to Annie and then the World Journal. I said, perhaps there will be another opportunity for something similar kind of event, because this is really my remark here. Because there are certain events with our demographics the way it is. There are certain events that, as much as we tried as a city to put together, I think that it really needs a lot of expertise and another experience to bring that together. And we thought that this might be a good event to take the place in lieu of the larger scale lunar event that we had in the past. So,
Although we're contemplating doing a lunar event.
but not to the same scale. Remember, we had larger scale lunar events before with Tsingtao.
Well, we only did the one, I think, with Tsingtao.
I think we did it like
We did
2
two?
years.
Oh,
2
we did.
years.
Yeah, we did the one.
Yeah, we did 2 years. We did
We did two.
two moon festival as well in the past, but we just haven't done that for a while. So I did reach out to World Journal to see if we can bring that together, and that's why when they came back, they contacted me and as well. I think it's really a matter of what value it brings to the community. I think it brings publicity to all the restaurant businesses on Las Tunas. It does bring certain entertainment value, not only just to folks within the city, but also to a lot of the residents here. And not just, this is not only for our Asian residents, it's really providing a cross-cultural experience for most of us. And that's
See,
why
I
we're
think
looking
that's-
at that.
That's what I would like to hear more of, though,
Yeah.
is that it's not just for our Asian community,
No.
it's for everyone in our community
Absolutely, yeah.
to enjoy and to taste a different culture.
Right.
And if, that's, I think, to me, would be the catch for this thing.
Yeah.
And I respect what you're saying about the businesses, but I think past history has shown that these types of events really don't help our existing businesses. And in fact, in talking with some of the existing businesses, they feel that it takes away from their business because they're concentrating more on the park area and the food booths and everything. They're not necessarily going to eat at the restaurants.
Yeah.
Now, they may see them as they drive through, I say, perhaps, but, I'm of the mindset that Temple City has done a pretty good job on our own to really publicize what we have in our city. And I think many people do come here and know of Temple City, and we are on the map certainly of people, especially with the many new restaurants we have. So that part of it I don't think is a winning argument for me, but I do appreciate the cultural event. There's no question about that. And I thank you for reaching out for that, certainly.
And the scale of the event is try to accommodate that as well, to try to address that. And then we work with the World Journal to do the scale.
Do we
and
really need to close down the street?
I think we do. Yeah, I think we do because of what the potential crowd size will be. I think it would be the safe. It would be. We would recommend that would be the safer bet in terms of the event itself. And we've talked to him, and what we were kind of pleased that if you look at some of the proposals in there, is kind of this level of exposure to that. It's a Moon Festival plus a fun festival, so we're trying to, invite all members of the community to experience and have a cultural experience that will be fun and exciting and open to all.
I know one thing I forgot to ask, the parking. Is there going to be a parking issue? We have 20,000 people coming into town.
It will be no different than the parking issues that we find. I mean, and when Conan is talking 20,000, not all at once. Right. They're spread throughout the day. So what we'll do, and I'm talking with Brian Arizumi as well. We'll work through some of those issues in and around the area as well. So. Like when Camellia Festival is kind of hot and heavy and whatnot, there'll be some impact of residential parking in and around the area, but we're not so as concerned about.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of details that still need to be worked out. Who's going to be the legal person on our
Myself and Brian Arizumi will be.
And all right, good.
We promise to work hard on those details as well.
Do we not charge our nonprofits to put the banners up?
There is some exemptions to that, but generally we do. There is some charges.
Last time we had the Tsingtao, I think they provided some boosts to some of our nonprofits and some organizations that we had in the city. You mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. I know the city is going to have a booth.
Yes.
Or is there anybody else that we're going to reach out to?
We'll work with the amount of boosts that they'll be able to give. I think there was.
I would like to see some of our local.
Yes.
We're going to be the one in control of that, and we'll be the one offering that to our nonprofits. And remember, one of the things that we did very successful in the past was during some of the Luna event, we're having a meeting, the city council for coffee and cookie. We thought we'll bring that back to the city council and see if we all want to entertain such a thing.
We have to put a time limit on it, though, because some people just stayed there, didn't we?
We'll borrow that timer. You have 3 minutes.
They wouldn't give up their seat.
So,
Can I answer the other question that council member have? That we will. I think Brian, we're willing to prepare a contract. Of course, we will sign a contract in between World Journal and city. And also, after the event, we will prepare a fully financial report for City Council to review. We will consider this become an annual event if everybody is satisfied our performance. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what I want. Okay. Councilmember Fish, did you have anything else?
Yeah, if I could just maybe just say a couple things. I think, there was a lot of discussion about dollar amounts, contributing towards this event and whether a city of our size should really be even putting up a single penny in the context of this being a very large organization that does take in a significant amount of revenue annually. And I think maybe the difference in perspective is really, what type of value do you place on a cultural experience that something like this is supposed to bring? And I completely understand if, for a lot of residents, perhaps the Moon Festival is a relatively foreign concept. It's obviously not a traditional American holiday. But as Councilmember Yu has alluded to, I think we do have a significant population here, a lot of first-generation immigrants that come from countries that place a pretty high value on the Moon Festival. And in fact, my wife, Helen immigrated over here after she completed high school, so she was 17. And she always kind of remarks about how really the Moon Festival being done in the States is nothing compared to where she grew up, which was Hong Kong. Now, granted, you could also make the argument that, well, we're in America, so why are we worried about that? But I think part of that is bringing and really celebrating the diversity that we have here in our city. And part of celebrating that diversity is at least giving something a chance. And this is something that we haven't really been able to do on the scale and sort of quality that an organization like World Journal could bring. Like we mentioned before, I believe the mayor asked, or Councilmember Fish asked, if we were to do this event ourselves, what's the likelihood of that? And really the answer is basically it's impossible. We just talked about the budget. We're at organizational capacity. We don't really have the staff or the expertise to really tackle it from the angle that World Journal can provide. And so if we're going to talk about dollar amounts, yeah, we could talk about that. But at the end of the day, it could be a difference between whether we have an event versus whether we don't have an event. And I think the difference in perspective is because not all of us have experienced a type of Moon Festival event, so it's difficult to assign a dollar value to something that is really intangible. And in some cases, you can make the argument that this type of an experience is invaluable, right? It might open your eyes to different things. It's kind of like traveling, right? You travel to other countries or other places, and it really opens your eyes to the perspectives that other people might have. So I'm hoping at least after this event, a lot of residents who have not had an opportunity to understand what the Moon Festival is about kind of gains an appreciation for that. And a lot of times we talk about our interactions with our neighbors and how sometimes, with the demographic shifts, sometimes you find it difficult to sometimes communicate or understand where your neighbor's coming from, their perspectives. There's a lot of intangible things that we can't really pin down and say, well, you're going to get A, B, C out of this. But I think the more we kind of try to embrace or look at things from another culture's perspective, I think it helps us as a community to really come together and understand each other. And like I agree with Councilmember Chavez and Councilmember Fisher's point about emphasizing local organizations, local businesses, and I think this is an opportunity to do that. And I think World Journal has mentioned making booths available for free for a lot of local organizations. I know in our discussions we also discussed involving local businesses, local restaurants. So it's not just publicity for World Journal, it's an opportunity for some of our restaurants or other businesses that may be stuck in one location to all of a sudden be in a spot where you can have very heavy foot traffic and they can advertise and say, hey, guess what? We're in Temple City. If you didn't know we were on this location, they could give out samples. So I think there's a lot of potential to this. Really, like Councilmember Chavez says, there's a lot of details missing, and which I think it's very apparent. But I think the first step really is, obviously they want to gauge sort of the city's interest, right? If the city has really no interest in doing a collaborative effort like this, then they're not going to go through the motions of planning all the little details that we will eventually ask. To me, this is, admittedly, we're taking a chance. We are. But I think it's a good chance. I think it's something that is well worthwhile. And really, to look at it from a they're such a big organization, why shouldn't they cover the entire cost? I mean, we could probably apply the same logic to, like, let's say our library agreement. The county's such a large organization with lots of money. Why didn't the county cover the entire cost of the library renovation? Why are we ponying up $2 million
when they question?
Yeah, when they could easily cover it. So I mean, but that's part of it. Is sometimes to make things happen, you put a little in to leverage a much larger amount. And so my perspective is we're putting up the cost for as listed here, to leverage the rest of the value that World Journal can really bring to this event. And if we're not happy with it, which that's always a possibility, let's say we have a lot of issues for whatever reason, we as a city have the authority to say, all right, this is it. You know, we gave you a chance. You guys didn't succeed. We're out. You know, we're not tied into that agreement.
And I totally agree with you. I don't discount the value of this event to our community. There's no question of that. I guess the main problem I have is that maybe it's just in the report that we've received. It just has, there's still a lot. And you know, as a council member and making these decisions that affect the city in general, I always like to have as much information as I possibly can to make that intelligent, informed decision. And what we have here so far doesn't have that. And as you said, it does require a sort of leap of faith on our part now.
Yeah.
Because the question becomes, are we willing to do it? Well, we've done it in the past. There's no question about that. And we'll likely do it here. But I would just hope that in future events or things like that, that when people do come to us and say, hey, you've got a beautiful city, this would be a perfect opportunity for us to do it, that try to come to us with as much information as you have so that we can make that intelligent, informed decision, and that we're not accused of just going ahead and just rubber stamping everything that comes forward. That's all I ask.
You're absolutely right. Actually, I must say that this came to us sort of in short notice, and for whatever reason. But I think because the Moon Festival is a certain time of the year, and now being pretty much the end of June, they really didn't give a lot of time. If we delay this further, which I'm sure Mr. Cook had considered, then that doesn't give really the organizer or us
At
enough
least
time.
6 to 8 months to organize.
So yeah, this is a little bit of a rush, unfortunately. But so yeah, we agree. There's a lot of deals should have been there, but I think it's a good opportunity to us to make that decision tonight.
I'd like to ask the gentleman if this, I guess the total cost estimated for the city is roughly what, $14,000? 13.
You put the 8,500 in the cost of our staffing.
Yeah,
roughly.
14 grand.
So $14,000. If the city didn't give you the $14,000, would you still put on the event this year? And the reason I ask you that question is, when the city sponsors something, you do kind of open yourself up to, you know, the public enjoying it, and then maybe if it wasn't successful, then the following year it doesn't occur anymore, as we did have in the past. I think when the city decides to sponsor something, in my opinion, all the details should be worked out. All those little things and the, you know, how something is going to work and how you're going to collaborate should be worked out, because the city is putting its name, it is, like you said, going out on a limb. I don't question the event or the reason for having it, but I do question the city just arbitrarily sponsoring something with the city's name on it because it's short notice or it wasn't completely planned. I would prefer to see the event take place this year, and if it works well, you come back next year and you ask for a sponsorship with all the details worked out that maybe didn't work out the first time, and then the city look at expending some funds to bring the event back. I mean, that's just another thought, but when the city sponsors something, I just think we need to be very diligent in what we are sponsoring. And we had a sponsorship when we did EDI, I believe, and it was a similar promise that they were going to come back. And they withdrew. And the community was saying, what happened? You sponsored that and now it's gone. So I would like to see the event. Mr. Yu used the term, it's a big corporation. Yes, it is. And I don't think $14,000 would, if the city didn't invest this first year, would preclude you from having an event that was successful. So it's just another thing. I mean, if the council's purview is to, you know, do it this time around, it's fine, but I do have an issue with the banner thing being waived also because we charge, you know, almost all our, or pretty much everybody, but it's just something to throw out. I mean, if somebody would like to make a, oh, well, we need to open up public comment,
I
so
don't
let's.
think he answered your question, though.
Well,
About-
that's true.
you
Would
want-
you be willing to put on the event without a city contributing the $14,000 this year, coming back next year with all the details worked out with a good amount of time with details worked out, and then we move forward?
First of all, I'm not the owner of this World Journal. And the other thing, World Journal actually is not the big corporation. It's a small local corporation. And then the council member, the question, if without city support of this fund, will we willing to?
This year.
Yeah. The problem is, since Temple City is co-host, we're not say city sponsoring, because this event actually, if we speak out, it should be hosted by Temple City and the World Journal. World Journal only playing the rules as an event producer. The host, you guys are the host. Temple City is the host.
Well, we're not the host yet.
Yeah. So for the host, for example, if somebody coming to your house to having a party, so for the host of this family, you still need to let people using your family room or whatever, the backyard, and
That's a
then
pretty big
having a party.
responsibility.
Yeah, and then it's a big responsibility, but we do buy insurance, the event insurance plus event insurance on the open street is very expensive. We will cover that too. So for the host, not only you provide some your house or your backyard, you will spend some money to prepare food and this and that. Anything you need to cost a little bit. For our event, like I explained, it's a big cost. We want to make it successful, so we hire all the professional crew. Like in the past, that why all the EDI or Xingtao Daily News, they don't want coming back? Because they lose money. They cannot take more to losing money. We are here trying to do our best to break even right now. After the
But if
event,
you lose money, will you come back?
maybe. Yeah, I'm not boss again, but I will convince my boss to coming back because we are doing this as a reputation. In the very first year we're doing with City of Monterey Park, we are not sure that can we, survive through the first year. But actually, it's been a very successful, so we survive and make it bigger and bigger.
Nance, why aren't you going back to Monterey Park?
We want, as I mentioned, we want to build a relationship. We want to introduce the nearby city, not only Monterey Park, Alhambra, San Gabriel, Temple City.
Have you done one in Alhambra or San Gabriel?
For Lunar New Year, we cannot do with other city, but we can do other event in other city. Like Alhambra, San Gabriel. Yeah, we've been trying to get in touch with San Gabriel, but they do have their own event already. Mm-hmm. And City of Rosemead, yes, they do have their own Moon Festival already. Yes. So we're trying to use the different time, like a council member you just mentioned. September is perfect timing for a Moon Festival, and it's a good festival, a beautiful festival. So this is the one we will give a try.
Okay, I think you've answered all.
There was one thing, you mentioned event insurance, is that?
Yeah,
Is
you
that
have to
part
have
of the permit approval? Or is
Yeah, that would be part of the permit approval. They would have to provide blanket insurance for the entire event, including the street closure as well.
And is that included in your $60,000 budget, that?
Yes.
That insurance?
Yes, we will buy those special event insurance. And then answer the other question from the city council member that, as a matter of fact, city manager trying to help us to waive the cost of the vendors. But we can request the vendor to pay the necessary temporary business permit fee. because this is out of from their pocket. Because since they are making the money from they setting up the booth in the event, we can help city to collect the temporary business permit fee.
Okay.
I don't know how much we'll charge in Temple City.
I don't see that addressed in our report. Is that something, is that a separate cost? What is he talking about? I don't know.
That would be, Mr. Conan is speaking about a separate cost related, but not the cost of the production of the event, but in a way to try to capture some of our revenue back. It's not in the report because it's not something that can be pinned down yet, but.
Are we waiving that fee?
No, there is no fee for that.
There's no fee for a business permit?
Yeah, not what he's, in terms of what Mr. Conan is talking about.
Was this be similar, like at the craft fair where someone pays $30 to
Exactly.
sell their goods?
Yeah, so.
Okay, I'd like to, if there's no more questions from council, open public comment.
Right.
Or did I already?
We already opened up.
We already did that.
Jeez.
Can I just take 60 seconds?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's 11.
Where are we now? Next to a motion, right?
Yeah,
Mayor
we're
Pro
ready for
Tem,
motion, yeah.
Mann talked several times about value a little while ago. I think Temple City brings a lot of value. We have a beautiful park, we have a beautiful performing arts pavilion. We're willing to close down the street, and we have a built-in audience of, 18,000 maybe of our Asian community that live here. So they almost have the 20,000 already built in. So I think that's one of the reasons that they're coming here, because they do see it as a great city to have this event. I'm a little confused, though, by one of the things that the gentleman referred to, and that's on page 2 of 2 on the staff report. He mentioned 6 a.m. closing down the street.
No, 11.
Pardon me?
11. That's
I know,
what
but he
heard.
said 6.
He has the setup.
I think he referred to it as the setup that begins at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's going to happen on Las Tunas, probably not, since
Yeah.
according to our report,
It's
that's going to
11.
be only closed at 11 o'clock, but
The street
I don't even
closure.
know if that's correct, because I don't know how they're going to close it, how
Set
they're
it
going
up
to
in
close
3
Las
hours.
Tunas at 11 and be ready to open an event
I
at noon. That
I was
doesn't seem to
thinking
be able to
exactly
work.
the same thing, but
They
I
have
thought
to
he was
close
going to
sooner
close
than that.
down Las Tunas at 6 a.m. Okay. Thank you for
Well,
giving
if
me
we-
the
if we-
second chance to ask a question.
Okay.
But if we approve this, it would be 11 o'clock. They couldn't open before 11, correct? Or close the street down before 11.
So just maybe I have one question for Conan. I know it's been brought up multiple times by several council members about the banner fee. How much is the banner fee, Brian?
A little over $400,
$475 or something like that.
So Conan, I mean, I think that's a great point. It's just, the optics of it. I mean, if we're charging our nonprofits money for it, why would we waive it for? Would you be open to covering the banner fee, the $400?
Since this is a host event between Temple City and the World Journal,
We've been waiting
why
for
need
other
to
people
pay
too. It's
that
not like
banner
we always
fee?
charge that.
Okay.
Well, we are not arguing that. In the city of Mountain Park,
We waived it
we
for-
co-host the event Lunar New Year Festival.
co-host
City of Mountain Park waive all the banner fee.
Oh, I see.
Even the public work department hang all the banners. Help us to hang all the banners.
Oh, so it'll be like a city event, basically, right?
This is a city
And
event.
there are plenty
Again,
of events
yeah.
that we actually waived. Yeah, not all, but
Well, is it a city event? Are we co-hosting the event, or are we sponsoring the event? Or all three at this
All
point?
three.
Because I've heard all three.
Eventually all three.
Okay. So maybe someone would like to make a motion, and then we can vote on it.
So, Madam Mayor, I think this event brings value that intangible, a lot of intangible value to the city. And also, it's an event that I believe would really, is an event that a lot of actually cities, local city actually are going after. So I believe that we should help co-host, co-sponsor this event. So I will move that we approve hosting and co-sponsorship of this 2017 Moon Festival and Fun Party with World Journal on Saturday, September 30th, 2017. And I also move that we waive all fees and deposit for the use of Temple City Park and the Performing Arts Pavilion, and authorize city staff to hang a street banner on Las Tunas Drive.
Can we have a not to exceed amount
Well,
in that motion?
and then with the expenses, city,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed what's in the staff report, that is $5,600 for related LASD and city personnel, and $8,500 to cover a portion of the festival-related expenses. For that,
I'll second.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Chavez?
In reading this staff report, I had many, many questions, or at least it opened many questions for me. I was hoping this evening to come tonight and work out those questions and get enough answers to support this project. However, unfortunately, this evening, what I've heard tonight has raised more questions and concerns. And my biggest concern is that I understand that there's a time limit on these things, but to me, that's always a bad reason for supporting an event, is to get it within a certain time frame. I would prefer that things be done properly and with good thought and good communication. And again, as I said earlier, I have no problem in the value of this event in our city. I just think the way it has been presented and the questions that still, at least in my mind, are there, and things that need to be worked out, I truthfully, in good conscience, cannot support it. So my vote would be no.
Councilmember Fish?
No.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Sternquist?
No.
Okay, I guess further good discussions can take place with the city manager to see if, I don't know, if they could even bring it back with details worked out at the next meeting. Brian?
I'm happy always to try to come back and see what can be done, but I would have to do that starting this week.
So if you'd like to make an appointment with Brian and see if you can answer some of those concerns that were expressed tonight, then we would have time to put it on possibly the
It would have to be the meeting, we'd have to do it at the
July?
meeting of the 5th.
July 5th. So it'll still be a short time frame, but a little bit shorter. Okay. All right, thank you. We move to item 11, communications.
Sorry.
It doesn't say none, so I'm
None for tonight, but quick city manager's update.
okay.
The question came up tonight regarding fireworks. The sale of safe and sane fireworks is permitted in Temple City and can be only purchased at retail stands that are be open from July 1st to the 3rd from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on 1st to the 3rd and on the 4th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The use or discharge of safe and sane fireworks is permitted in Temple City on July 4th between noon and 10 p.m. The only permitted fireworks are the safe and sane labeled fireworks. Again, we talked about the use of illegal fireworks. Violations can go up actually to $5,000 for repeat offenders. Property owners will be held responsible for the discharge of illegal fireworks. There will be multiple man units. I won't say exactly how many will be out. There will be, on top of the normal patrols, there will be an extra several patrol units out specifically targeting calls for service related to fireworks. So that will be happening throughout the July 4th date.
Update from our city attorney.
Done at the start of the meeting, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Council reports regarding ad hoc or standing committees. Do we have any?
I do.
Okay. Councilman Fish?
Last week, we had a joint meeting with our school district, and one of the things we did talk about, which was actually carried over from a meeting a few months ago, was possibly starting an intern job program, maybe with the city or the school district or some local businesses. And actually, our city manager has some details with some information that he has gotten for that.
Sure, very briefly, considering the hour. As a board member of the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, we will be looking for some programs that PCC has now. Again, talking about organizational capacity, we don't have the capacity internally to provide that type of programming. So we'll be leaning on the Economic Partnership to assist us with some probably smaller scale opportunities, 2 or 3 jobs, those kind of things, through that program with the Economic Partnership and working with the school district.
Okay, anyone else?
Do we still need the
I
commissioner
think there
recruitment ad
is.
hoc?
Oh, how about
The
the
city commissioner recruitment, should we?
We can
just
disband
ban
that one.
Do you want me to report on that, or do you want a report on that, or?
Go ahead.
Well, we actually picked our new commissioners, and we will be notifying them by sometime this week.
Okay.
And we're disbanding that, correct?
Item 15, council items separate from the city manager's regular agenda. Let's see, the next council meeting will be on Wednesday, July the 5th. And that's all I have. Councilmember Chavez?
I have nothing, thank you.
Oh.
Councilmember Fish?
Really quick, just remind everybody, our annual Relay for Life is coming up this Saturday, June 24th, starting at 12 noon. It's a 24-hour event. It's at Temple City High School. So it will be ending Sunday, the 25th, at 12 noon. So come out. You do not need to be a member of a team to come and visit us and support us. Also, really quickly, we just wanted to thank staff for all their help with the budget, and again, thank Mayor Sternquist for letting me be on the ad hoc. It was a very nice opportunity. I appreciate it. And then for all of the residents that, unfortunately, most of the people are gone, but if you're listening, one of the things I will say about that I have seen with this Mercy issue, that I haven't seen anything else, is just the amount of rumors that have been so wrong. And I would just like to remind everyone that if you hear something and it doesn't sound right, it just doesn't sound right, please contact any of us, contact our city manager, contact our city clerk, and get the correct answer. Don't let it upset you and rile you up, and so that you come to a meeting and you are so upset when you have really the facts are confused or blurred. Social media, is a great thing, but it is also very dangerous. So again, please think twice before you start, I don't want to say spreading rumors, but get the facts first. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Yu?
Well, just again, want to encourage folks who are so involved with Mercy, stay involved. This is your community. You own it to yourself to be part of the city council decisions. So continue the good effort, and we're one big family.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Mann?
Just really quickly, this coming Monday, we do have the, on June 26th, the update on the general plan. It'll be a public meeting. I believe it's here in council chambers. So it's a long process in the making. And for anyone who's been following it or who has been involved, please come. It's a chance to provide input and kind of look at what direction we're heading in and some of the plans. I find it exciting that we have an updated general plan in the works, and more excited about the specific plan as well regarding the intersection of Las Tunas and Rosemead. So please come out and show your support or share your comments. That's all I have.
Thank you. Item 16, reimbursement of expenses to city officials. There is none. We're going to recess to the successor agency, to the Temple City Community Redevelopment Agency. May we have the roll call, please?
Yes. Agency Member Fish.
Here?
Agency Member Chavez.
Here.
Agency Member Yu.
Here.
Vice Chair Mann.
Here.
Chairman Sternquist.
Here. Item 3, consent calendar. And we have a motion.
to approve.
Second.
Okay, hearing no objections, so moved. Item 4, no unfinished business, no new business, no communications. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, update from our executive director and agency council.
None.
Item 9, matters from agency members.
None.
None. We are in adjournment and back to the regular agenda. We move to item 18, additional public comments on items not listed on the agenda. Does anyone like to comment? Mr. Cliff?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. I'll just make it really quick. There's just a couple of things from tonight. There was a talk about police departments, and what happens with police departments is they're responsible to the city government, so there could be some political, implications of someone. I'm not saying if Temple City had a police department that this council would do it, but you never know in the future. The other thing with police departments in all the cities that were mentioned, they were established, like, in some cases, over 100 years ago. And to try to establish something like that today, I mean, where would you even put a police station? You can't chase the sheriffs out of there. Second item was the local crime increases with the release of all these people through the alignment. And what happened there is they had their convictions reduced, but those charges that they were originally charged with were reduced to put them in prison. So now we're letting those out. So you have some really dangerous people out there that are being released. It's not just somebody who went and, well, now you can't even say stole a loaf of bread, because if it's under $949, you get a pass. So these could be some really bad people that are out there on the street and doing these crimes and being hardcore people that know what they can get away with. And number 3, I'd like to thank the City Council and staff for, number 1, the 18-page letter to the county for the Mercy Housing thing. I mean, you guys were working on it, and, stroke of luck, whatever you want to call it, that got called off. And also for the opposition letter to Senate Bill 218, because, again, that's something that's going to affect everybody. And it's good to see that the city's taken a proactive approach, because understanding what this all is, it's ridiculous. I mean, the imposition of the fees and the costs that are going to be to all the cities. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. No one else? Okay, we are in adjournment.
Get me out of here.